Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
We heard from Seahawks GM John Schneider yesterday on the John Schneider Show. A lot to talk about this time around, not just draft preview, but hey, what'd you make of Geno saying that he felt disrespected? What do you make of Richard Sherman saying the Seahawks don't treat veterans right? And what do you make of this year's quarterback class? Lots of stuff to dive into. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus today. We are going to dive into a preview for this upcoming series against the Rangers at 10:30. Talk about an addition the Mariners could still make at 10:45, and then back to the draft at 11. Let's start with John Schneider. John was asked about Geno feeling disrespected, something Geno said. Well, he said there was a lack of respect or something like that, basically feeling disrespected.
Counts as disrespect,
it counts
I
as
think.
disrespect.
Yeah.
In an interview with Albert Breer, here's what Schneider said.
Very comfortable the way we handled it, and knowing that, a wise man told me once, you can't tell somebody how to feel. Like, it's just not. You can't. There's a lot of things you can do, but you can't. Hey, these are his feelings, and this is this person's feelings, and it's like any other relationship. Like, it's the way you feel. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
What do you think?
There's been a lot of talk about, did the Seahawks do everything they could to keep Geno Smith around? And I am of the belief that I think they did. And I am also of the belief that Geno Smith didn't want to be here any longer. Like, the Seahawks could have done everything they could have in this situation, and I don't think they were ever going to convince Geno Smith that he was going to come back. Or I don't think Geno Smith ever. Why? I think because Geno just is such a Pete guy, and Pete is a Geno guy. And I think Geno felt most comfortable with Pete around and not with a new coaching staff. And I mean, look, Geno is in his mid-30s now. He probably sees that I don't have a lot of years left in the NFL. I want to be in a very comfortable spot. I don't want to have to assimilate to a new coaching staff. I don't want to have to assimilate to a new offensive coordinator for what it'd be the third one in 3 seasons.
Yeah.
You went from Waldron to Grubb to now Clint Kubiak. Like, that's a lot of turnover year to year in an offensive system. I just think it got to a point where Geno was not going to be convinced that Seattle is the place for him long term. And so I think his camp made it hard on the Seahawks and said, look, if you really want us back, like, this is our number. If you don't meet this, we want out. And the Seahawks were like, no, thank you.
But I think both are true, too. You've talked about it a little bit, that, like, it became maybe more clear, despite John saying everyone that comes in that building is a Seahawk. There's not Pete guys, there's not John guys. But you had said, and I think many other people as well, like, I don't know, man, Geno might be a Pete guy. Like,
if he's played with Pete Carroll in 2 spots and told John Schneider, I don't want to play for this team anymore, I think that quantifies Geno Smith as a Pete guy.
That relationship is a little more
I feel
the driving
very
force.
safe in saying that.
Exactly. And that's okay. That's okay. Like, Pete believes in Geno. Geno's one of his favorite players he's coached. And Geno has a great relationship with Pete. Excellent. For John, I think that he has to think about it from a completely different point of view. He's not a mentor to Geno. He is heading up a professional football team and has to keep in mind the longevity of that team, the cap situation with that team. He sees Geno not always as like someone I'm guiding through life in the game, but this is a 35-year-old who's accounting for this much against my salary cap. Like, you just have to fundamentally see a player differently. So when he says, hey, I feel fine with how we handled everything, I don't think he's just talking about the respect factor of, like, I think we did the right thing. It's, I feel fine with us telling Geno we're not going to guarantee this money. I feel fine with us deciding to acquiesce to Geno's trade request.
Well, and I think another great thing that this offseason has done is force the Seahawks to answer some hard questions about the quarterback spot that they were going to eventually have to answer with Geno Smith still around if they had come to an agreement and extended him. Like, Geno, to me, and I think to even the Seahawks, was never viewed as like the long-term answer to the post-Russell Wilson years. I think everything just kind of magically happened the way it did, and the Seahawks were kind of forced to then give Geno that extension because coming off the year that he did, or the year that he had in 2022, I mean, you would have been foolish not to bring him back after that year. I think he had 30-something touchdowns to only like 10 or 11 interceptions. Like, he was balling in 2022 and still played at a pretty high level the years after that. But it got to a point with, letting Pete Carroll go after the 23 season where I think Geno kind of saw the writing on the wall. You heard his comments after week 18 of this last year where he's like, I think things are heading in a good direction with this team with or without me. That, perked my ears up when I heard the without me part, because I don't know if anybody had really kind of considered that possibility of moving on from Geno after last season, whereas I think once the Seahawks weren't willing to negotiate with him last offseason, I think Geno's camp was kind of like, all right, well, if they don't want to talk on our schedule, then we're going to make them talk on our schedule now. Like, we're going to force this issue and make something happen, whether it be a contract extension, whether it be a trade. And ultimately, Geno got what he wanted. He got to be back with Pete Carroll, and he also got a nice new contract, nice 2-year extension. So I think at this point, I just don't think the Seahawks – I think the Seahawks did all that they could do to keep Geno around, and I think Geno's mind was just completely made up and was like, I don't see a future for me here.
On the topic of former Seahawks talking about the team, John Schneider was asked about Richard Sherman's comments that the Seahawks mistreat veterans.
It's not, like we've talked about this before, it's not a Seahawks thing, it's a league thing, right? It's – when I was in Green Bay, it was like Brett Favre, Reggie White. Kansas City was Joe Montana, Marcus Allen. No, I will say, there's a and Sherman and I were talking about today. There's a way to handle it. You can, like, it's not easy, but there's certain ways you can do things differently, and you can learn from all your experiences. And if you think you have everything licked, you're not practicing, doing best practices. You're constantly trying to learn, like, okay, did we handle this correctly? Did we handle that correctly? What could I have done here? What could we have done there?
Look, I think that almost every player who is released, traded, doesn't get the contract that they're looking for. Like, there's not a lot of, ride off into the sunset feeling great player-team relationships in the league. Almost everyone, no matter how great you've been, is eventually replaced. It's cutthroat. It's ruthless.
Yeah.
Eventually replaced, eventually not given a contract they feel they deserve. And I think what happens for a lot of players like Richard Sherman, like Bobby Wagner, is they think, but I am 10 years in and I see the game so much better and I understand this and I see people making bad mistakes on the field. And so it feels like, but I see, like, my football IQ is tremendous and I feel like my body's still responding. But what teams see is a cap hit. What teams see is a salary that all those Pro Bowls and All Pros can now command. And they go, can someone do most of this for less? And it is cutthroat and it is ruthless, but that's the nature of the game, man.
It is. And you see all these players and their salaries increase and increase and increase. And what is the goal of the salary cap? It's to create parity in the NFL, and if a player gets too expensive, teams have the right to cut him and get back under the salary cap. You get penalized, the more money you have on your books, and it just makes it kind of an untenable situation. That's why they moved on from Tyler Lockett this offseason, because he was due to make a really big amount that, look, a player of his quality or a player of his caliber probably isn't worth paying that much right now. Not to say that Tyler Lockett isn't a reliable receiver, doesn't have a place in the NFL going forward. I think he still can find a home and still can be a useful receiver in the NFL, but the cap number that was going to be headed his way for the 2025 season, I think every team in the NFL would have balked at that. Even if your books were spotless, even if you had the most salary cap in the NFL, I still think there would be a lot of hesitancy to pay a wide receiver who's 32, the kind of money that Lockett was set to make this season.
Well, and I think that Sherm has a point in that the Seahawks clearly needed linebacker help, particularly to start the season that they didn't have. Like, they felt the absence of Bobby Wagner. They have felt the absence of the Legion of Boom. Would those guys in the secondary still have performed at the same level? I don't know. I mean, Sherm was fine with the 49ers for a while, so maybe.
Right.
Cam couldn't. Cliff, I know not part of the Legion of Boom, but obviously that defensive line couldn't, right? They had injuries that hampered them in ways that would have restricted them. Could this team still benefit from having Tyler Lockett? For sure.
Right.
But I think that the recipe of being a Super Bowl team is not one jam-packed full of stars that you're paying a ton of money to. You need a couple.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You for sure need a couple. But you also need surprises, some cheap rookies, guys that you sign as free agents that overperform and outperform their contracts. That's kind of the recipe that it gets you to succeed.
Yeah, and I also think the root of these comments by Richard Sherman that were made, a month or two ago, still stem from how he was let go by the Seahawks coming off of the Achilles injury and them just being like, all right, thanks for your service. Here's the door. Obviously, that's going to, hurt his feelings. It's going to hurt anybody's feelings, especially because you're rehabbing an injury. You'd think, hey, maybe you have some grace for me here.
I would, for sure.
Yeah, but again, it's the NFL. It's ruthless. But also one thing that I think it's important to note, a lot of these guys, after they do get cut by the Seahawks or if they do get released or traded, how many of them have gone on to have great careers or to add on to their legacies after what they did in a Seahawks uniform? It's a very small group. Michael Bennett sure didn't. Russell Wilson sure didn't. Sherm had a couple of decent seasons in San Francisco, was part of a Super Bowl participant team in 2020.
Wagner, one of them, but never quite at the same. Obviously, his best years were with Seattle.
Yeah, he's not the kind of linebacker he was in 2015, 2016, anything like that. So I think more often than not, the Seahawks have been right in their decisions to move on from these kinds of players. Very few have they let go and have regretted in a big way. I think one of the few regrets that they probably have over the years is Golden Tate, but he was not, 34 years old when they let him go. He was after his rookie deal, I think.
To your point, some of the players they've let go that succeeded elsewhere are players that Max Unger, and they didn't let him go. It was part of a trade. You could argue random line. Glowinski ended up having a better career with the Colts than he did in Seattle. It's kind of the unexpected names that have gone elsewhere, and you thought, oh, maybe we should have hung on to that guy. Maybe we should have explored his development a little bit more. The Seahawks, with some of their brightest stars, did get as much as they possibly could out of them.
509 makes a good point. They said, didn't New England and Belichick do the same thing, let players go towards the end of their prime and let them get paid elsewhere? The Patriots won rings doing it that way. I've always wanted the Seahawks to kind of do the Patriots model where it's this guy is maybe a year or two away from getting paid, but also we could get a first-round pick for this guy. We could get a second-round pick for this guy. You want to continue to make sure that cupboard is stocked in order to continue to have young talent, because that's the biggest cheat code in the NFL, is getting all-pro level play on a rookie deal. It is such a bargain. I mean, Devin Witherspoon is a bargain right now, even though he's a top 5 pick and is making decent money. The level of play that he has had, 2 Pro Bowl seasons in his first 2 careers, you have 2 more years remaining before he's eligible for a big rookie or his first veteran extension. You only have a limited amount of time for a lot of these guys in order to take advantage of kind of their contracts.
Yes, but you know why I think that maybe fewer Patriots players are sour about it compared to some Seahawks players? The main difference between the Patriots and how they were doing things and how the Seahawks were doing things is, A, the Patriots were doing that far more often, and B, Bill Belichick and the Patriots, it's cold.
Yeah.
From the jump. Not player-friendly coach. You come in here, we win. That's the plan. You are useful to me until you're not, and then you're gone. Pete Carroll, particularly during those Super Bowl, 2012, 13, 14. I'll extend it to 11 too, kind of bringing some of these guys in. It was this collegiate kind of we're together. I believe in you. Do you believe in me? And so I think that it makes sense that for players who are told, you're central to this organization, we're doing this around you. What do you want? What do you think? We're all family here. It makes sense that those players would feel betrayed and would feel wait a minute. I came up in my early 20s being told you believe in me and I'm important to you and I'm the center of what we're doing. I didn't come up with Bill Belichick, basically calling me, by my jersey number for 4 years.
Yeah, even if you were a first-round pick.
I came up with someone I thought was like a mentor and kind of a friend. And,
yeah.
And it's the business. Like Richard Sherman, Doug Baldwin, Cam, like all these guys were super smart guys. Like they know it's a business.
Yeah.
But I do think there is I wonder if there's a feeling of betrayal that despite knowing what the NFL is, you might feel as a player with Seattle during that time compared to New England.
Maybe. I think, John Schneider has been a guy in the, 14, 15 seasons that he's been here, has always appeared very, easygoing, very happy-go-lucky, like just a really chill demeanor. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if players kind of mistake that as almost like friendship when it's like, this dude's actually your boss. Like, it's nice to have a good relationship with your boss, but being a friend with your boss, that kind of cloudies things a lot, where it's like you can't really, be buddy with your boss unless, because there are going to be decisions made at your expense,
actual
or decisions.
Friends and family stick with you no matter what.
Right.
Like you're used to them is in the relationship itself. An employer, you're used to them is in what you give them.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, this is like the first professional setting for a lot of these guys, and their first introduction to just kind of like boss employee dynamics. And so maybe John Schneider had a harder time kind of putting or kind of leaving space for that employer. Yes.
Holding space for it.
Exactly. So maybe that's why guys got their feelings hurt, because they maybe viewed John Schneider more as a friend than an actual boss. We
have so much Schneider sound we didn't get to, particularly what he thinks of the quarterback class, his approach to the draft, some more draft and on-field stuff. We're going to get to that at 11:45. Right now, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, the Browns have reunited with Joe Flacco, signing the 40-year-old quarterback to a one-year, $4 million contract. What's the real headline?
Joe Flacco, still younger than Deshaun Watson's average salary number.
I mean, he could be quarterback until his, 50s.
Deshaun's
before, getting paid to do nothing.
Good for Joe Flacco. The Browns are in such a weird spot right now. Like, you're looking at the number 2 pick. People have wondered if you're going to take a quarterback. This is yet another sign that they won't. They shouldn't, honestly. They should take the best possible player in the draft, because the Titans won't. They're going to take Cam Ward, who may be one of the best, but I don't think many would argue the best player in the draft. They have openly admitted the Deshaun trade was a mistake. Everyone already knows that. But I think
Jimmy Haslam being like, wish I could get that one back.
Well, and then what do you make of Deshaun then having the interview going, people can say what they want, it's just fueling me. Like, Deshaun does not see this as a mistake. He's ready to get back into the game.
Deshaun, I don't think it's ever going to be the way it was when you were playing for the Texans and were looking like a future all-pro quarterback. To me, this screams that the Browns are like, we made a horrible mistake letting Joe Flacco go before last season. He helped get us to a wild card win. What was it, in 2023, or at least the wild card round?
That run, it was like 300 plus yards in a couple of those games.
He was a gunslinger. He had a lot of interceptions during that run, but he was also throwing for 350, 400 yards.
When there's no pressure, it's like, what's an interception?
Exactly.
We're not paying him anything.
Remember that clip of him on the sideline where it looks like he's kind of dozing off?
Yes.
And it's like, you know what? When you're 38, 39 years old, you got kids, you're looking for any kind of space to sneak a little catnap in.
It's like, this time 4 months ago, I was asleep on my couch, and now I'm here on a bench.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number two, Ryan Bliss will miss the next 4 to 5 months after having surgery on his torn bicep. What's the real headline?
Team that wants to be aggressive on base paths just lost 2 of its most athletic players. It's not like
that presents a problem.
Yeah, not a joke headline, but to me, this is what this story is really about.
those are your two most athletic guys.
Right. You're not necessarily looking at Ryan Bliss going, oh, we're really going to miss his bat. Although he was a fun story, a real spark plug. I was very intrigued to see his development and what it looks like. It's really about, look, the way that Dan Wilson and this organization clearly wants to play is taking a little bit of a hit when you have your fast players, your aggressive base runners, now 2 gone.
Your best base runner, probably Dylan Moore right now. And Dylan Moore hasn't been in the lineup every day.
Yeah.
He probably will be now because he was splitting time with Ryan Bliss at second base. He'll probably see some other spots out in the outfield, third base, second base, first base, shortstop. He plays everywhere, obviously, but you lose some roster flexibility without Bliss there. Throughout the show today, we will look at other options the Mariners can have to kind of fill out that roster, but yeah, this is not this is not fun to see 2 guys who you had big expectations for done for multiple months at a time. Like, it's pretty rare that we've seen these kind of debilitating injuries over the last few years. I mean, Robbie Ray, that to me is the only one that kind of jumps out in recent years as a guy who was lost for the entire season. Matt Brash too, but like, God, Brian Bliss, 4 to 5 months. Victor Robles, at least 12 weeks. Things aren't feeling super good, even after that win on Wednesday.
And again, when you don't give yourself as an organization a lot of wiggle room, and when you enter the season going, okay, so if our pitching is still excellent and healthy, and if Julio starts a little sooner, and if we get good defensive play, we've got this thing. That's a lot of ifs. And there are a lot of organizations that enter the season going, look, even the best teams in the league, even the Yankees are like, look, we really need Aaron Judge to stay healthy. Like, we really do need our pitching, for instance, and they've already taken a hit, our pitching to try to stay healthy. Like, the best teams still have some ifs, but you've left yourself no wiggle room. Mike Burrell had a great column on the Seattle Times just talking about the cost of the slim margin for error, and you feel it so early with even 2 injuries.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, it's cut down day at the Masters. Justin Rose currently atop the leaderboard at -9 through 16. Bryson DeChambeau in second place at -7. What's the real headline?
Now I understand why Curtis is in for Bump today.
Yeah.
It's making a lot of sense.
Bump was he was like half here yesterday.
Yeah.
One eye on Masters coverage, one eye on the show.
I don't love anything the way Bump loves golf.
Right.
Like, maybe not. I don't even
interior
think reality
decorating.
TV. I love interior decorating. I'm very stereotypical. I love Real Housewives.
Yeah. What if there was like a Real Housewives event that lasted 4 days that happened between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.?
Even then, I think that I would be like, oh, I'll just tape it and watch it later.
That's the thing about live sports. That's the thing about live sports. It does not hit the same if you tape it and come back to it.
I knew someone who we both knew this person. I think she taped the national championship, UNC's national championship game, right? Or maybe a Final Four game.
Wow.
And I was like,
what do you mean tape it? Yeah.
Look, you mean you just had
How are you
no
going to
idea
avoid
what was
results
happening?
for that long?
You can't go on Twitter. You can't look at your phone. You can't look at a
You've
TV
got to
screen.
disable
you got a breaking
notifications.
News banner on
yeah.
ESPN. Like, live, I've never understood ever. And like, look, I'm also this kind of person. I've researched, like, I'll go on a Wikipedia page of a movie and be like, how does this end? So I understand that I may be in a minority here, but like, if I know that I've taped a 2.5, 3 hour baseball game, and I know it ends up being like just a disappointing loss for my team.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it.
There have been times where I've been out running errands or whatever, and I'm late to the start of like a Mariners game, and it's already like the second or third inning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe I'll go back and watch first. And then like midway through, I'm like,
never.
What's the point of this?
Never.
Fast forward to live TV.
I've rewatched good games.
Sure. You go back to it, but catching up? No,
yeah.
Thank you.
Nope. That's God. That's God letting you avoid pain is what that is. The Mariners start a 3-game series, speaking of, against the Rangers tonight. Let's dive into a preview next.
Now that's how you walk that talk, am I right?
3-2 on the way, and it's high and inside. A bases-loaded walk-off walk.
The Mariners pull out their best win of the season.
You just need those guys to be who you expect them to be. Rosarena, monster game.
It is grand salami time.
Is it the spark the M's needed? Find out tonight with a first of 3 against the Rangers. First pitch at 6:40. Pregame at 5:30 after Wyman and Bob on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, and the app.
Collectors, Front Row Card Show is returning to Tacoma. Join us at the Greater Tacoma Convention Center on April 12th and 13th. Baseball, football, basketball, and hockey cards, plus collectibles such as Pokemon, Marvel, Star Wars, and comic books. SGC, CGC, and JSA will be there. So bring your cards, comics, and autographs to sell, trade, or get them graded. Hundreds of vendors, thousands of dollars in free prizes. Don't miss it. Front Row Card Show, Greater Tacoma Convention Center, Saturday and Sunday, April 12th and 13th, 11 to 5. For more info, go to frontrowcardshow.com. That's frontrowcardshow.com.
Here it comes, the second huge online equipment auction of the year, produced by the James G. Murphy Company. Bidding is underway now and closes at 10 a.m. Wednesday the 17th. Over 800 items are on the block, including heavy equipment, trucks, and logging gear, including a 2016 Link Belt 210 XT TLN log loader, a 2014 CAT 320 DFM log loader, and a 2014 Komatsu 931.1 forwarder. If you're looking for construction equipment, we got 16 excavators, 5 wheel loaders, 4 backhoes, and 2 pavers. Plus, there's a great selection of 12 late model dump trucks, including 5 Peterbilt 367s from model year 2013 to 2020. Check out all this gear in person during inspection days, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday the 15th and Wednesday, April 16th at our Marysville location. Bidding is underway now. For pictures and all details, check out murphyauction.com. That's murphyauction.com. murphyauction.com.
Hey, Brock Ewart here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. The weather is warming. The sports are moving outdoors, Shannon. Maybe time to take care of that lawn and pull the old lawnmower out. Is it a time where you get a little busier as the weather warms?
Oh, absolutely, Brock. You know, what we know, particularly in the Puget Sound, we have these cold, wet winters. The weather changes, the sun comes out, and everybody wants to rush outside and do things. And I'm telling you, that's great, but you got to take time, listen to your body. You got to prepare your body for those activities. You don't want to go too fast, too soon. So warm up, stretch, make sure you have flexibility, a little bit of conditioning, because if you're conditioned and ready and prepared, those activities outside are going to be so much funner, if that makes sense. You're an athlete yourself, Brock. You know how important warming up is.
No, I like funner. I think they would tell you more fun, but I kind of like funner, and that's exactly what IRG is. For more info or to book your appointment today, simply go to irgpt.com. Remember, that's irgpt.com.
Bull riding, the perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the PBR Tacoma at Tacoma Dome, Saturday, April 26th and Sunday, April 27th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
When buying a battery, most people don't know one brand from another. And brands don't start things, watts do. And who remembers that volts times amps equals watts anyway? At Pacific Power Batteries, you're buying a battery from someone who you can trust. Lately, we've been working hard on our product knowledge so that you don't have to remember all that you may have forgotten about Ohm's Law. Studying vendors' strong points helps us find a battery that's right for you. And at Pacific Power Batteries, that's not artificial intelligence, that's useful information.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Mike Salk here, and luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. And this summer, you can experience the breathtaking Cascade views, the world-class dining and entertainment, and elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost relaxation. Plus, Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel's award-winning outdoor summer concert series is back with amazing artists like Hanson, Austin Jenks, Melanie Fiona, and POD. This summer, overlooking the beautiful Snoqualmie Valley, snocasino.com for tickets. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only, take up to $3,500 off an energy-efficient Bryan cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate.
Bob Stelton here for Asset Roofing, and they have got the perfect slogan. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset, and I witnessed this firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and again when I had him do work on my roof. Now this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing because you're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Swedish Cyberknife is expanding. Dave Wyman with exciting news about Swedish adding a second Cyberknife in Seattle. Cyberknife is a non-invasive, extremely precise prostate cancer radiotherapy treatment. Compared with other radiation therapies, which last 6 to 9 weeks, the Cyberknife treatment period is much shorter, typically 5 days with daily sessions under an hour. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/Cyberknife Prostate.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Mariners starting a 3-game series against the Rangers Friday night. That's tonight. Bryce Miller on the mound. Diving into a little bit of a preview here. We'll start by, I know that this is extra innings rerun for you, Curtis.
Man,
extra innings just
I feel like
on
I
yesterday.
just talked about
I know,
this.
as a
Catch
reminder,
the podcast, SeattleSports.com.
Catch the podcast every single Mariners off day.
We're
you
back
can still
Monday.
Get your fix with Curtis Rogers, who I look at as like a baseball encyclopedia.
That's kind of just what extra innings is. It's like
I say
just
it
opening
as
a
an
baseball
insult.
reference.
You know when people are like, sarcasm, it's insult.
There have been times where I've thought about on extra innings because it airs so late at night.
Yeah.
Me kind of like doing a segment where I walk through my process of filling out the immaculate grid of the day.
I think you should just fill one out live. I think.
All right, guys, who played for the Tampa Bay Rays and Pittsburgh Pirates?
This is what extra
Chris
innings
Archer.
should be.
There we go.
Curtis, name a random Mariner.
Random Mariner all time.
Yeah.
Greg Dobbs.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it should just be like you just going, man, remember, and then just throw out a random. Do another
Remember
one,
some guys? Andy Sheets.
See,
remember
that's what I'm
him?
saying.
Yeah.
Just random Mariners. Anyways, it's a wonderful show. So this will feel like a repeat for you, but for people who didn't get a chance to tune in and are looking for a preview, we're going to dive in a little bit. Rangers are in first place, and while their stats aren't completely indicated this, they played some good ball. What should we know about Texas before we start this thing?
Well, most interesting about them right now is that their offense has been bad. Even though they are 9-4, even though they have the best record in the American League at this point, Marcus Semien hitting $122, Jake Berger hitting 119, Adolis Garcia hitting 190, Corey Seager hitting 220, Jock Peterson hitting 094. They do not have a lot of offense going for them right now. Jonah Heim, Josh Smith, those two guys have been hitting the ball well. But it's just two guys in that order. Leody Taveras, another guy who's been hitting the ball pretty good. He's got 4 home runs, or actually no, he doesn't. That's 4 RBIs, no home runs. But he's hitting 250. But they just don't have a lot of thump right now, which is kind of weird because you kind of expect that with the Texas Rangers and their best bat. Wyatt Langford, at least their best bat in the starting portion of the season, he's going to be out at least for the next 10 games. He heads to the IL yesterday. So the Rangers offense, not so good. The Mariners pitching staff this series should be really good. You've got Bryce Miller, Bryan Wu, and you've got Logan Gilbert going in these 3 games. I mean, you're going to have opportunities to keep this Rangers team off the board and hopefully give yourself some chances here.
Every conversation about what the Mariners offense needs to do is obviously going to start with Julio. John Morosi on with Wyman and Bob yesterday asked whether Julio can carry the bulk of the offensive production this season.
He's 24. He's still young. Obviously, a 24-year-old still a very young person, but this is his team. It's interesting. Julio traditionally has been a slow starter. We have had numerous conversations the last couple of years on this program about what's going on with Julio. Why is it a slow start? The one thing I'll say is, while the average isn't there, he is hitting for power more now than he did early last season. He's at least hitting the ball and driving it in a way that you would expect him to drive the baseball. That's a really good sign. So I'm it's not just my reflexive optimism here. I really believe that if Julio's making some loud contact early, eventually the average will pick up. and I'm encouraged by seeing the power from him.
I thought that was interesting analysis to the start of his season. Like last year, some of the numbers look good, but it didn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
This year, like it doesn't always feel great, but you're seeing some important numbers ratchet up.
Right. The 3 home runs, that's huge because April historically has been a horrific month
in his
for
career
Julio.
Prior to this year.
So we're halfway
50%
there.
50% increase.
I think didn't we have a show bet at the start of the season that he was going to get to 5 before the end of April?
I mean, 2 more, and I'll bring in donuts for us.
Let's go.
We've got
this weekend.
We've got
Monday
2
donuts?
full weeks
Yeah.
plus some days.
Let's go. But that was encouraging, the 3 home runs, and then obviously the game-tying double on Wednesday. That was super encouraging too because that was a huge clutch spot. Put the Mariners right back in that game, and then Arozarena getting the game-winning walk later in that inning. I just think that you're seeing signs of things that Julio has previously struggled with that maybe he's coming around on. The batting average still not there, but another thing that I really like too about what I've seen from him, Stacy, is the number of walks that he has taken to start this season. I believe he is among the team leaders in walks right now, up near guys like J.P. Crawford and Cal Raleigh, guys who normally are working deep counts. Yeah, Julio with 8 walks already through 13 games, has 16 strikeouts, but I think the number of walks kind of shows that his strike zone recognition is maybe improving, which was something that so many people talked about heading into this season. Is like, this is an area that Julio has to get better in. If he does not get better in, the rest of his career is going to be a struggle. So seeing him generate a lot of 3-ball counts, that's an encouraging sign to see. The on-base percentage at .322 right now, not a concern for me right there.
I have a weird question for you about this series.
Let's get weird.
We talk so much about, hey, here's what I need to see from Julio. Here's where we'd love to see the starters excel. They do so many good things. Here's what we're excited to see. What's something you're eager to watch, particularly when it comes to Dan Wilson?
I just want to see how he manages this bullpen, how he manages this pitching
he's
staff.
Burning through it a little much?
Yeah. And now I think part of that is also just how these games have been played. Sure. So many of them have been tight. So many of them have gone, down to the final out. A couple have already gone into extra innings and have already gone deep into extra innings because 12 innings nowadays, that's a very long game. You don't usually see more than about 10 or 11 innings these days. The Mariners have already played 2 12-inning games this year. So I'm kind of wondering, 12 for the 12s. I'm kind of wondering just how this is going to go, especially with the pitching rotation in a weird spot where Luis F. Castillo was optioned yesterday. So right now you only have 4 starting pitchers. We kind of wonder who's going to be that 5th guy. That spot in the rotation does line up with Logan Evans' start day, which he started on Wednesday in Tacoma.
You think he'll get called up?
I think it's possible, but also you had the off day yesterday, which is great for the starting rotation. Then you've got the off day on Monday. So you could go with a 4-man rotation for a little bit here. It doesn't have to be until, I would say, probably, Thursday or Friday of this next week where you might have to bring in somebody else other than the 4 guys that you feel most comfortable with.
All right. Let's have a little bit more. I know we mentioned Ryan Bliss with headline rewrites. But someone said, you've got a bad team when you're missing Bliss. I wouldn't say you're missing his bat or that, it's not the same as if Randy Arozarena, Julio, Cal got hurt, right? Then you're talking about, oh my God, how do you replace this? This might be where your pop comes from. It's more of a disappointment. He's a fun player. He's young. He's experiencing some firsts here, and you just want him to continue that development. But the speed on the base paths with him and Robles is obviously something. And with Bliss, you're already looking at a thin infield, so now you're moving stuff around. How does this lineup look without them? Are there points that and consider too Polanco's dealing with injury? I suddenly have questions about what does the infield look like day to day? How often does that change?
Right. The top of your order looks a lot different because Robles was your leadoff guy. Julio batted leadoff on Wednesday. I think that might be a good thing going forward. I know J.P. Crawford historically has been a leadoff hitter, and he's got a 348 on base, but right now, that batting average, 143. He's 5 for 35 to start the season with only one extra base hit. I don't want that at the top of my lineup. I want somebody that has the threat of getting a hit. I want somebody that has a little more just a possibility of creating havoc on the base paths, because JP's not somebody that's going to swipe a bag either. Julio definitely has that in his repertoire, leading the team in stolen bases already with 4. So I think Julio right now might be your best bet in that leadoff spot. As for Bliss, I mean, he was your starter against right-handed pitching at second base. Dylan Moore playing against lefties. I would imagine we see more of Dylan Moore at second base going forward. Even probably some more Miles Mastrobuoni, too.
Who? It's been pretty solid.
Yeah, 762 OPS, hitting 333 in limited time. But, hey, you take that from a bench bat.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering where Jorge Polanco kind of fits into the whole picture defensively, because you want him to play third. Right, you want him to play third base because that's where they had kind of penciled him in at the start of the season. But I don't think physically he can handle it. And then, and second base, maybe he's your best option at second base. I don't know. It's the whole painting right now is blurry. It's not in focus at all.
It's a Monet.
It is.
Open
to a lot of interpretation.
The one addition the Mariners could still make. That's next.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
The idea that there is no middle class of quarterbacks anymore. Is there one this year?
Every day at 7:45.
No second rounders. It's not a thing anymore because of the advantage of that rookie contract and having him for 5 years. Many have reached into that first round and take those guys. I do think it's going to be a little different this year. I would not mind seeing them take a middle round quarterback to push Sam Howell.
Blue 88, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
When someone hears the words, "You have cancer," it's one of the darkest moments in their life. Light the Night brings light to the darkness of cancer by uniting survivors, patients, and supporters in the cause to end cancer. Friends, families, and coworkers form a community of hope, raising funds in support of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Together, we walk with lanterns held high to light the path to cures. Last year alone, the FDA approved 18 new drug therapies and treatments to treat blood cancers. The impact of LLS-supported research goes beyond blood cancer. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. When we walk, cancer runs. Join the movement to end cancer today. Visit us at lightthenight.org.
The azaleas are blooming, and I can hear the theme song in my head right now. It's the Graz here, telling you the Masters is the start of the golf season. Why don't you indulge by booking a tee time at any of the 11 fantastic premier courses? That's Inter Bay, Jackson, Bill Wright, West Seattle, Cedar Crest, Bellevue, Linwood, Walter Hall, Legion Memorial, Lake Padden, and their newest course, the Ocean Shores Golf Course. Practice on the range with Top Tracer at Jackson, Inter Bay, and Bill Wright Golf Complex. Play the courses, play virtual, play premier.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Announcing the Million Hour Volunteer Rally.
G here, join me, Safeway and Albertsons, and donate your time and skills to support local food banks and host food drives or fundraisers. You can win free groceries for a year and a $5,000 donation to your favorite hunger relief agency. Visit albertsons.com/volunteer to learn more. Find volunteer opportunities and log your hours. 1 million hours will help create food-secure communities. Visit albertsons.com/volunteer.
This year, tee it up at home with Synthetic Turf Northwest. Dial in your yard and your short game is sure to follow. Synthetic Turf Northwest is your synthetic grass expert. Install a custom backyard putting green or just a mud and mow-free lawn the neighbors will envy. They do it all. Residential, commercial, and turf supply. With locations in Woodinville and soon Fife. Mention Seattle Sports and save up to $1,000 off your project. Visit syntheticturfnorthwest.com.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, it's Bob Stelton here, and I've got something you're not going to believe. Metalachi. That's right, folks. It's a heavy metal hairband and mariachi. This is no joke. Metalachi is coming to the Galaxy at Muckleshoot Casino Resort Monday, May 5th for an unforgettable show. So prepare yourself for the most face-melting, sombrero-spinning spectacle on the planet. Metalachi is going to rock your world heavy metal style with a Mexican twist. You can get your tickets at muckleshootcasino.com.
Here it comes, the second huge online equipment auction of the year. Produced by the James G. Murphy Company. Bidding is underway now and closes at 10 a.m. Wednesday the 17th. Over 800 items are on the block, including heavy equipment, trucks, and logging gear, including a 2016 Link Belt 210 XT TLN log loader, a 2014 CAT 320 DFM log loader, and a 2014 Komatsu 931.1 forwarder. If you're looking for construction equipment, we got 16 excavators, 5 wheel loaders, 4 backhoes, and 2 pavers. Plus, there's a great selection of 12 late model dump trucks, including 5 Peterbilt 367s from model year 2013 to 2020. Check out all this gear in person during inspection days, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday the 15th and Wednesday, April 16th at our Marysville location. Bidding is underway now. For pictures and all details, check out murphyauction.com. That's murphyauction.com. murphyauction.com.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we provide top quality windows that are 25% more energy efficient, reduce noise by 50%, and stay clear with low maintenance glass. With leak armor installation and lifetime warranties, you're protected for life. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
Right now, have ultra-efficient, clean technology windows installed and pay $0 down with 0 interest and 0 payments for 18 months. Only from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. And they'll even pay your sales tax. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Look, Curtis, I know once the season started, we all kind of thought, well, this is the team. Let's do this thing. Let's do this
There's nothing
baseball.
else out there, right?
But Greg Amsinger talks about a potential addition the Mariners could still make. This was him on MLB Network.
JD Martinez is sitting on the couch right now. JD Martinez is watching the show right now. JD Martinez, 2 years ago, hit over 30 home runs and drove in over 100 for the Dodgers. You need someone to help out J-Rod and Cal Raleigh in the middle of that order, and Randy Rosarena, it's just not clicking right now in Seattle for him.
Look, I get that JD Martinez is 37 years old. And I know that for a team that already has a couple, players, Garver, Haniger, obviously not with the team anymore, but there was already some complaint of like, you're kind of just bringing in some older guys to supplement the lineup. Right. However, your lineup needs to be supplemented. Are you intrigued by the idea of adding JD Martinez last year with the Mets, obviously 2023 with the Dodgers?
I am open to any and all ideas right now to make this offense better than what it has been to start this season. And if that means JD Martinez, I think you have to consider it. The only drawback is that you're not going to get any help in the field from him. He is strictly a DH. We're looking at his fielding numbers over the last few seasons. This guy has played just 3 games in the outfield since the 2021 season. He was the full-time DH in Boston in 22, full-time DH for the Dodgers in 23, save for those 3 games, which I don't know why he was in the field for any of those games. And then last year with the Mets, full-time DH, played 118 games in that spot. This guy has not really played the field that much in a long time, and he's 37, so his fielding is obviously not going to get better the older he gets here. His numbers took a dip last season from what he kind of has always been, is around an 800, 900 OPS. Last year down to 725. Citi Field, not exactly a hitter's paradise in New York with the Mets, but still hit 16 home runs in 120 games. And, I mean, you look at a 725 OPS, put that on the 2024 Mariners, you're talking about one of the more productive bats in that season. I would say, yes, I am interested in hearing out more on J.D. Martinez as a Mariner fit, but where does he fit in this lineup? You can't build the whole lineup out of DHs, right?
Well, and you can, especially consider that Polanco's maybe your best hitter right now and is actively your DH given that oblique injury. So then what? You're cycling between it, like
Tellez, he's a first base DH type.
Like you just granted, Harold Reynolds mentioned that Martinez would certainly not cost you the same that he would have in the winter.
J.D. Martinez would be perfect, and he's not going to cost you what he would have cost you in the winter or even last year.
He wants to play.
Yeah. And he's in great shape. He's hitting every day. He's ready. He knows his role. That's the key, too. When you get guys that are at that age of a designated hitter, we've talked about this a lot already in the first 2 weeks, he understands his role. And the impact he would have on that team.
Harold, right now, as a team, they're hitting 199.
And just talk.
They're hitting 199. You don't think J.D. Martinez would impact the club?
He's not going to hit 199. I know that.
No, exactly.
First of all, lower your voice.
Why'd you have to say that with your chest, Greg Game
You said that in public. That's so rude.
Wow.
But
only
secondly,
we can talk about the Mariners in that way.
I know. I am intrigued by the idea of potential help not costing nearly what he would have.
Right.
So I'm not overpaying for someone that I'm struggling to find a place for. But I don't like taking a good bat out of the lineup.
And another thing about getting a DH type is on days when you want to give Cal Raleigh a break from catching, where does he normally play? He moves over to DH. Garver is behind the plate. So if you have J.D. Martinez in your lineup as your DH on those days, Cal Raleigh's bat is not in this lineup, at least not starting, which – I mean, maybe that's good in the long run for Cal Raleigh's health because, I mean, I think he played in like 153 games last year, which is an absurd number for a starting catcher, whether that be as catcher or as DH. But, like, that's the only hang-up I have about this addition is what do you do with J.D. Martinez? But what do you do with the lineup if you add J.D.
So where do you land on this one? Are you like, I don't want to make a move for the sake of making a move when I don't know how to use this guy? Or are you like look, I'm going to sign him and figure it out later?
I think it might be the latter. I think maybe you sign him and just kind of figure it out. I think it's a good problem to have with so many bats that are capable of holding down that DH spot. I mean, remember, Stacy, it was not long ago where we were all begging for the Mariners to have a competent DH just – instead of a designated outer, a designated hitter. And now if you did bring in JD, you would have Polanco, you'd have Cal, you'd have him. It would be a really good thing to have that many options available. The problem is I don't know how often you could have all three of those guys in your lineup at the same time. Now, if Polanco gets healthy, if he is able to get back to playing in the field,
then you don't have to worry about it.
Then you don't have to worry about that, but that's a huge if at this point.
We are diving right back into the draft. The latest from Matt Miller coming your way next.
Now that's how you walk that talk, am I right?
3-2 on the way, and it's high and inside. A bases loaded walk-off walk.
The Mariners pull out their best win of the season.
You just need those guys to be who you expect them to be. Rosa ran a monster game.
It is grand salami time.
Is it the spark the M's needed? Find out tonight with a first of 3 against the Rangers. First pitch at 6:40. Pregame at 5:30 after Wyman and Bob on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, and the app.
Lead
LeeJohnson.com is a dynamic research tool.
We want to give the customer enough information to where they don't have to go anywhere else to research any of the questions they have. And if they want more information, we'd love to be there to help. We don't want them to feel like they're dependent on emailing us or texting us or calling us just to get the information they need. So we put it all out there. We call them digital retailing tools, big fancy calculators where you can get in there and change the terms and change the payments and change the cash down. And it'll give you a disclosure of, hey, when you do this, this means here. And a consumer can get on there and do a lot of this themselves. And then if they choose to get us involved, we can actually get involved on the backside of it and help them along the way. We want to give the consumer the same tools that we have and let them understand what we understand.
Yup, that's pretty much what you'd expect. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family. Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of their National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through April 20th. Stop by any of their participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. That's drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Collectors, Front Row Car Show is returning to Tacoma. Join us at the Greater Tacoma Convention Center on April 12th and 13th. Baseball, football, basketball, and hockey cards, plus collectibles such as Pokemon, Marvel, Star Wars, and comic books. SGC, CGC, and JSA will be there. So bring your cards, comics, and autographs to sell, trade, or get them graded. Hundreds of bidders, thousands of dollars in free prizes. Don't miss it. Front Row Card Show, Greater Tacoma Convention Center, Saturday and Sunday, April 12th and 13th, 11 to 5. For more info, go to frontrowcardshow.com. That's frontrowcardshow.com.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners are back in action after an off day yesterday. They're going to open a series against the Texas Rangers at 6:40 p.m. Bryce Miller on the mound for Seattle. Pregame show starts at 5:30 right here on Seattle Sports.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Oh, man. You know, we've got 2 more weeks leading up to the draft. 2 weeks from yesterday, the first round. And I know some folks might be tired of draft talk. Some folks can't get enough of it. I find it to be especially interesting because this is a team that is not fully in rebuild mode, Curtis Rogerson for Michael Bumpus. But they're certainly looking to and need to take massive steps forward with talent.
Yeah,
and
they're in a.
Will that come from this year's class?
They're definitely in an in-between spot, which, as we all know, is not really where you want to be in the NFL. You want to be either amongst the contenders or the teams that are going to be getting the top 5, top 10 draft picks. And the Seahawks, in the 3 years post Russell Wilson, have finished 9-8, 9-8, and 10-7.
To be fair, I think I'd rather be a 9-10 win team struggling to get out of the middle of the road than a team with a top 5 pick regularly.
Sure.
To be completely honest.
Maybe just get the one top 5 pick and hope that propels you forward.
Would rather be a Seahawks fan than a Browns fan.
Yes. Would you rather be a Seahawks fan right now than a Bengals fan, who did get that number 1 overall pick?
But can't find a way to build up their defense or pay their best defensive player. I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Kind of a weird spot to be in.
Do I want to work my way through the AFC? Or do
I want to work my way through the NFC
for
for the next 15 years.
Seahawks not in a horrible spot. It's just a place that feels impossible to dig your way out of.
Yeah,
it takes teams decades sometimes.
Good luck to anybody not named Kansas City making it to the Super Bowl in the AFC over the next decade plus.
And even they can't win it all the time.
Right.
We learned a lot from Matt Miller on With Brock and Salk.
did.
We'll start with this one. Asked to fill in the blank about the 2025 draft class.
Good. I think it's been oversold as a bad class. And I think that's based on where the perception was in December of this group. But then you have some true juniors like Armand Membo and Nick Eamon-Wari jump into the class, and that boosted up. And we have solid play in the college football playoffs from guys like Jalen Walker, Will Howard, the running backs from Ohio State. There's so many players continue to elevate their stock over the month of January. Then we get into the true pre-draft process of the Shrine Game, the Senior Bowl, the Combine, Pro Days. So I don't think this is a great blue chip draft. I only gave out 13 first-round grades. That's a little low. But this is a meat and potatoes draft. This is a really good year to get starters in round 2, round 3. It's a really good year to address your offensive line, your defensive line, running back.
Curtis, I think a bad draft, A, we sometimes only learn in hindsight, and B, is when you have players with a ton of hype drafted early and just a bunch of them underperform. Or maybe you look at the 2021 quarterback class and you're like, okay, it's Trevor Lawrence, right? Or am I thinking 20? Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. And then you're like, and who else? Like just guys overdrafted. You don't, just because the bulk of the talent is going to be on guys that are going to be a great wide receiver too, or a solid guard, does not mean it's not a good class. It means you have to spend your picks wisely.
Right. And to find those gems and maybe not get blinded by the scouting report on some guys and make those smart picks. I think it was Daniel Jeremiah who kind of echoed that sentiment in a tweet where he says, I've talked to several GMs and head coaches over the last week, and everyone seems to agree this draft is a starter draft, meaning not a lot of star power, but you should be able to come away with 3 to 4 solid starters. They're out there. Go find them. Is that what the Seahawks need? Is just more starters, or do they need stars?
Frankly, I think they need stars.
Yeah.
Like when I think of the best teams in the league, they have, not all of them have the same thing, but they have like a list of one of the following: franchise quarterback, elite edge rusher, maybe a great receiver, or like a dominant tight end, or a really, tricky matchup nightmare tight end. And a solid offensive line, at the very least, a solid offensive line. In fact, if you go and look back at several of the last playoffs, and I'm sure this is typically the case with playoffs, you're rarely going to find bad offensive lines. Sometimes you will, or sometimes you'll find offensive lines that are surprisingly better that you think might regress, but you'll rarely find objectively bad ones.
Yeah.
So I think that I would love if the Seahawks had an elite edge rusher, a name everyone's talking about. I would love if the Seahawks had a couple more Pro Bowlers. I do think star talent typically makes a difference. And they've got pretty good role players. They're going to stock up on that with this draft, but I am kind of waiting for them to find that key, defensive player, that key, obviously the franchise quarterback. Who knows when that's coming? Maybe it's Darnold, who knows? But yeah, I think my answer would be stars. What about you?
Because if this team is lacking, if this team's need is more for stars than just starters, then why are you standing pat at 18? Why are you sitting at 18 if you need stars? I get that there is still talent available at 18, but if you need stars,
you move
trade
up.
I'm absolutely talking trade up.
What about everyone saying that most teams aren't really interested in trading up?
I think there are still great players that can be had at the top of this draft, especially in the top 10. I mean, it's not like there isn't star caliber players in this draft. I mean, we've heard from a lot of people that picks 15 through 50, you're picking from kind of the same talent pool. But before pick 15, you're picking first round talents. You're picking guys that can be a potential star. You have the draft capital right now. You have multiple seconds and multiple thirds. We looked at one of those draft pick number charts, like the Jimmy Johnson chart, and I think we saw that if you packaged, what was it, a second and your first, you could move up into the top 12 or whatever. I think if you were ever going to, I mean, we've heard the Seahawks all the time talk about how we never get a chance to pick in the top 10, we never get a chance to pick in the top 5. The one time they did was Devin Witherspoon. I don't know if you can get all the way to the top 5 with pick 18, but you can definitely move your way up. If you see a guy that is a difference maker, whether it be on the offensive line or a difference-making wide receiver that you like, or heck, a quarterback you fall in love with. I don't know if a quarterback is going to be your best bet if you want to make the 2025 version of the Seahawks the best that they can be, in addition to adding star-level players. But if you want a star over just a regular starter, you have the firepower to go do that.
Are you particular about the position they address, or are you just get the best A-plus player you possibly can? What if it's a tight end?
I think we
could see two go in the first.
Get the best player possible, because there's just so many needs on this team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I would love for them to come away from this draft with a top flight wide receiver to pair with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't know if that's going to be in the first round. It might be in the second round where they get that. I would love for them to address that offensive line. I would love for them to get somebody, just get more help on the defensive line too. I think there's going to be options to pick from on all those spots. But if the Seahawks are tired of just kind of having an okay roster, if they're tired of just kind of being in this middle ground that they are, why not take a shot on somebody? Why not, go out and get I don't know, somebody who's in this top 10 group? There are guys that could absolutely help you out and potentially blossom into star level play. I know that we have never seen this team move up in the draft in the first round like that, but I think if you were ever going to do it, I mean, you're not really going to have much more draft capital than what you have right now. You look at their 2026 picks, I don't think they have any extras. I think it's just everything that they've acquired over the last offseason. That's where they have the extras at.
Someone said, who would be willing to trade back out of the top 10? I think there are a couple teams that could. Obviously, I don't know that one of those teams are going to be, the Browns could get the very best player. I don't think they trade back. I think they get Travis Hunter. The Giants might a little bit, but you don't have enough to trade up to 3. So maybe they take Abdul Carter. Maybe the Patriots consider it. You don't have enough to trade up to 4. So then you're looking at, do the Jets trade back? Maybe they take a shot at Shedeur. Mike Greenberg doesn't think they will. The Panthers at 8 have I don't know, maybe they're willing to, but they have a lot to add to their team as well. Saints are going to want to take Shedeur if he's available, so doubt that they do. Bears need to add some offensive line talent as well. I don't know. Obviously, no divisional opponent unless you're the Bills trading with the Chiefs, and the 49ers are going to want to add a
I don't think the 49ers are going to want to trade.
No,
with
they're going to want to
Seahawks.
get like a great defensive back there. I don't know how many teams. The only thing we're hearing is a good question. The only thing we're hearing is that a lot of teams are not wanting to trade up. That this is not a draft where a lot of teams are either standing pat or might trade back. Maybe that gives you more candidates, like you're entering a buyer's market for trading up. I just don't think that you can get into the top 5. And Curtis would be looking at, what are the Cowboys doing at 12? What about the Dolphins at 13? What about the Bears at 10? That might be too much too.
Yeah, I think the teams that are
you're talking 5 spots.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to tap the Raiders well again at pick number 6. I think they want to have that, and it seems like they're just eyeing Ashton Genty, especially because Pete Carroll loves running backs. And you know how excited Pete Carroll would be to turn in a draft card for a top 10 pick
Ashton
for a running back?
Already be buying property in Vegas. He
Like,
should already be.
That at pick number 6 is maybe the lock of the draft, even more so than Cam Ward going number 1 overall to Tennessee.
You mentioned really wanting to see, as part of this draft, a wide receiver, a really elite wide receiver. Matt Miller has his eyes on one you're very familiar with.
At 18, he's giving you size and 50-50 catchability, above the rim skills that no other receiver in this class has. It's really that simple. There's no one else like him in this class. There's some big receivers. There's no one that plays the ball as well as he does.
That sounds like one Teteroa McMillan.
It is Teteroa McMillan. He
Bear
mentioned
down.
some negatives on him. I don't know that Brock was especially high on that pick. I know Salk doesn't want a wide receiver at 18.
Brock was not high on that pick because there was a clip of Teteroa McMillan that surfaced of him saying he doesn't like to do film study. But here is where I push back on that.
Because that's not a great quote.
No, but that is a quote from prior to McMillan's freshman season at Arizona.
Oh, so
he was
17.
like 18 years old, yeah. And since then, he has developed into one of the best receiving prospects in the country, put together back-to-back 1,300-yard seasons. Last year, people were kind of like, he didn't exactly explode off the page. Well, Arizona's offense was it was a mess all season long. They fired their offensive coordinator after the year was done.
Yeah.
It was a brand new head coach. Yeah, Brent Brennan. It was not good. And McMillan was there, who was recruited by Jed Fish and his coaching staff, a much better coaching staff than what took over for Arizona after this season with Brent Brennan, formerly at San Jose State. But Jed Fish, he goes to Washington. There was, questions whether or not McMillan and Fafita were going to follow. They didn't. They stayed at Arizona, which, I think is credit to them for having, the loyalty that they did, kind of sticking with a very unknown situation when they could have gone to something comfortable with Jed Fish. But I think McMillan gets unfairly knocked for what was around him at Arizona last year. I think the fact that he was able to put up the kind of yardage that he did with how out of sorts that offense was. I mean, heck, the first game of the year last year, he put up over 300 yards receiving in their season opening game. I think it was against New Mexico. This is a guy that has produced. And one game that really stands out to me in McMillan's career at Arizona is 2023 at Colorado. You know who was matched up against him on the other side of the ball? One Travis Hunter. And Teteroa McMillan cooked him all day long. It was not even funny how bad Travis Hunter was getting beat that game.
Or maybe funny to Arizona fans.
It was incredible, just the performance that he put forth in that game. Now, Colorado got the best of Arizona this year, but McMillan has gone head-to-head with the most blue-chip prospect in this entire draft in Travis Hunter, and has shown an ability to beat him time and time again. So my concerns with McMillan, I mean, maybe a like top flight speed is a big concern because I think he ran like a 4.5 40. But big receivers like him, guys who are 6'5", they're not usually running the 4.3 times. They're not usually running the high 4.3s, the low 4.4s. They're usually kind of 4.50, something like that. So to me, I think the concerns around McMillan seem to be a little bit blown out of proportion, especially that clip that has been making the rounds of him saying he doesn't like film study.
I didn't know that's when he was like 17 or 18.
Yeah,
Feels so
it's
unfair.
been a few years since. If you're a true Wildcat head like your boy, you've seen that clip before it ever got popular over the last couple weeks.
Before we get to 4 down territory, I do want to get to Matt Miller's sound on the offensive line. He projects Seattle taking too early.
It's tough. This wasn't a good offensive line group in free agency. It really wasn't. I mean, Dan Moore and Jalen Moore got paid as starters. That says a lot. And neither guy had really shown the tape to justify that. But I'm with you. The offensive line's been a problem. You have how many former players are constantly talking about
all of them?
As long as the offensive line is a problem, it's the issue is gonna be the same. And especially adding Sam Darnold. I know you guys have talked about it a lot. It's a quarterback who struggles with that pressure in his face. He needs answers. He needs help. So I know I did a 7-round mock draft, and I had the Seahawks taking Jared Wilson, the center from Georgia, and Tate Ratledge, the guard from Georgia, in the 2nd round.
So 2 offensive linemen in the 2nd round. Again, he mocked McMillan at 18. So wide receiver, offensive line.
Build the whole draft out of offensive linemen. Build the whole plane out of the black blocks.
Why not?
Black box.
It'll
Yeah.
keep it so safe.
Absolutely. I think you have to come away with an offensive lineman in your first 2 rounds. You've got 3 picks in the first 2 rounds. One of those has to go to the offensive line. Has to. You haven't done anything on the offensive line other than Josh Jones.
You added a swing tackle.
You did.
And I don't blame people for being upset. I also, look, we've heard several analysts be like, it's not the best class. So maybe I don't necessarily blame the Seahawks for not adding more, though I'm concerned. Right? 2 things can be true.
Exactly.
I can kind of understand it while also being very worried.
Yes. I think what the Seahawks have done this offseason, the gamble of saying we think our coaching staff is so good that is what will make this offensive line improve the most rather than just bring in new talent. That's a big ask of a lot of these guys on the offensive line, and I think you need to add – I think that's the spot where you need to add the most talent. I think that is the area of your team that is lacking in the most talent, and if you stand pat at your picks in the first 3 rounds, you probably should spend multiple on the offensive line, whether it be a first and a third, whether it be a first and a second, whether it be a second and a third. Like, you got to come away, I think, with multiple offensive linemen in those middle rounds.
All right, let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Stacy, first down to you, something you talked about with Salk this morning. What is a home run first 2 days of the draft look like to you?
A little similar to what Matt Miller had, though I went with a different player, at 18. I didn't go with a wide receiver. A home run for me, when Mike and I come in here on Saturday morning and we're looking back at rounds 1 and 2, is that the offensive line has been addressed by at least one of those second-round picks. And that there's a player that was maybe a bit of a surprise but was chosen for a ton of athletic upside that I can be intrigued with. For instance, I'm not saying that they should do this, but like Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina, safety at 18, that kind of pick makes me go, well, what did they see? They took Devin Witherspoon. That was a surprise, and that worked out. You know what I mean? I get very intrigued by the crazy athlete that we just could not deny, because when you take a player at a position that's not necessarily one of need, it's with Mike McDonald's defense, you think, they see this guy as a key to what they're doing. So if there's a player that I'm like, this is an identity pick, I'm interested in this one. I'm intrigued by that kind of coupling. Offensive line and like an identity pick.
I like it. Second down. Stacy, who is a superstar NFL player that might not be happy with their current situation?
You know I love juicy NFL gossip.
Yeah, you do.
This from Tom Pelissero, speculating on things between TJ Watt and the Steelers.
This is not with any firm knowledge background, but one, he's in a contract here. plainly due for an upgrade. Doesn't have it yet. 2, I would fairly tell you TJ Watt probably is getting a little sick of waiting on the quarterback question as well. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you want to play here or do you not? Cam Hayward, who then proceeded to try to walk that back several times when he said, hey, you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't? I don't need to make more of a pitch than that.
Yep.
That opinion, from everything I've been told, is not solely to Cam Hayward. There are other people, certainly in the organization, in the locker room, who are just going like, what are we doing? We're back for off-season workouts in 10 days. Mm-hmm. We're coming up on the draft. What is the plan?
Now, I don't think that there's a path where like TJ Watt becomes a Seahawk. I do think it's very interesting that there's a potential path where TJ Watt and the Steelers are having issues. I mean, this guy was central and has been central to their success. He's been one of the best defensive players in the league, former defensive player of the year. That defense willed them to the playoffs. And it's just an interesting issue that they're dealing with. So again, I know naturally we all go like, oh, could Micah Parsons be a Seahawk? Could so-and-so be a Seahawk once we see contract issues? And sometimes it happens, right?
Right.
Dwayne Brown was having contract issues with the Texans.
Jamal Adams.
Exactly. Yeah. And the Seahawks were all over both of those players, both in midseason trades. Or excuse me, Jamal, a regular offseason trade, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think it's something to kind of keep an eye on out of NFL curiosity and just kind of to see what develops there, because they don't even have a quarterback. Their outlook as a team.
They brought back Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
That's how bad things got.
Their outlook as a team changes without him.
Gosh, third down. Stacy, we've once again seen an interesting position mocked to Seattle. Who and what is it?
Once again, we have seen a tight end mocked to Seattle. Loveland's been mocked a couple times. Sports Illustrated has a new mock they just released that has Loveland there again. It is not a name we haven't talked about. It is not a position we haven't talked about. But I find it interesting that there have now been, I've seen like 4-ish mocks that have had a tight end going. This is a class with some good tight end talent. We could see like 2 at least, well, 2 probably, go in the first round. I see tight end typically like I would guard, like certain positions where I'm always a little surprised when they're drafted early. Sometimes it doesn't work out, right? We all know Kyle Pitts at 4 didn't necessarily work out, even though he's crazy athletic. Noah Fant was a first-round pick, didn't necessarily work out for Denver. So I understand people typically going, ooh, wait a minute, maybe don't do that. But tight end usage has been a very under-the-radar issue for the Seahawks for a long time. It hasn't necessarily cost them. They've had solid offenses while not getting much from tight ends. They have had a solid run game before, back in 2018, without getting too much from tight ends. But when your last really productive tight end was one Jimmy Graham, who did nothing wrong. And no tight end has touched his touchdown total or total yardage like in franchise history, you're not getting a ton from them. So I'd be curious to know if they take a swing and do get a surprising pick at 18, which for me would be a tight end, right? A wide receiver, like a skill position player, that would be a surprising pick for me. But it's one of those intriguing ones I talked about earlier where you go, what does John Schneider see? And now I want to know what he sees. So something to keep an eye on.
Fourth down. Stacy, what feels most fascinating and most unfair about a Seahawks-Raiders comparison?
So I was on Hawk Blogger live podcast, and they were asked this question about like who's going to finish with more wins. It's one I've seen before, right? Of course, you're going to be kind of comparing Geno's time in Seattle with his time with the Raiders. And I'll say this. I think the Seahawks finished with more wins than the Raiders. I think that the Seahawks, I understand, benefited from having Geno. But they're still a team that really improved defensively. Mike McDonald had a stellar first year. They've typically been a competitive, if disappointing team, a competitive team. And I feel like expecting them to completely fall off is maybe a little premature, maybe a little doomsday. It could absolutely happen, but these like very, very sudden swings with win-loss records aren't especially common. Usually you have a gradual increase or a gradual decline. It's a reason why we kind of remember like worst to first stories. Like they're not especially common. So a team like the Raiders, if they were to get 9 wins, that's more than doubling their total from this past season. Now, what's interesting is how much of Seattle's success last year was Geno making things happen, and how much of it was Mike McDonald getting the defense together. I'm interested to watch as we move forward. Coming up next, is college football giving us a contract holdout? Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
The number 9 draft profile, the tight end, Colson Loveland.
There is no struggle as a pass catcher. This may be, and he may turn out to be, that next great NFL tight end. Because of this system, tight ends are going to be so unbelievably valuable. When you got a unicorn, and he would be a unicorn sitting there, there's a possibility.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
Get ready for an unforgettable adventure at LeMay, America's Car Museum in Tacoma. Marvel at over 300 world-class automobiles and 100 years of history. Don't miss the Shinka exhibit featuring nearly 50 iconic Japanese sports cars. Feel the thrill of driving a Formula One car on the exhilarating race simulators. There's fun for everyone, so grab your friends or the whole family and plan your visit Thursday to Monday. Learn more at americascarmuseum.org.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
4 down territory. Going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Brought to you by Integrated Rehabilitation Group.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Are we seeing a contract holdout in college football?
Sure, seems that way.
Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus, and Curtis, not to play the whole "man, I'm getting old" card, but
we're getting old.
Despite
I got older this week, Stacy.
You know, you did. Happy
Thank
birthday!
you.
Not to, look, prior to NIL deals happening, was like, look, I don't exactly know what a solution looks like, but it does feel morally wrong to have an industry that is
profiting off of
getting millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars.
These kids aren't getting anything.
Right. And, you have jerseys. And not only that, but they get in trouble for accepting anything. If a restaurant was like, hey, we want to give you free meals for a year, maybe under the table you might do it. But it just felt like a morally gross kind of thing that was happening.
Right.
That being said, a solution is also really messy and really weird to see. And this story, and in fact, something you just saw on your own timeline, kind of made me think about a lot. Why don't you tell us what you saw, and then I'll get to our top story here.
I am obviously an Arizona alum. I've talked about my love for Arizona football and basketball all the time.
I'd argue too much.
Probably. I think our audience would also argue that. But Arizona basketball just tweeted that one of their players has re-signed and will be back next season.
So weird to see.
Re-signed? What?
What do you mean? Like, we got him inked.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Like,
don't worry about it.
Like, what are we talking about? All right, well, related story. Tennessee Vols starting quarterback, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this, I think it's Nico Imaliva, did not attend the school's Friday practice. Why? Because he's currently in negotiations for a new NIL deal. ESPN's Pete Thamel says the no-show came as a surprise to Tennessee. He's considered a potential first-round pick in 2026. Again, we're looking at potentially an NIL contract holdout for a college quarterback.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane to see where college sports has gone to. And I don't think this will stop at just football either. I know, college basketball NIL deals are huge. And we've seen instances, too, of where these kids not getting paid and then them packing up and saying, well, I'm gone. UNLV's starting quarterback last year. What was it? Louisville's punter before the Sun Bowl against the Huskies?
I think another player at UNLV might have done it, too.
I think so. But, remember Louisville's punter, walked off the field during pregame warmups?
He didn't realize.
Yeah, and the school's SID was like, I don't think that's our punter.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the starting punter. Oh, weird. Wonder where he went. This is just where college athletics is. And I'm sure that if Tennessee does not come up with the cash needed to pay Nico Imaliva the money that he's seeking, another school absolutely will. I mean, he's a starting quarterback for a college football playoff team last year.
Yeah.
That stands for a lot in college football right now. And also he's a potential first-round pick. I think some teams will recognize the value of that. But, man, I wonder if the multiple portal openings is I think maybe just do one. Like, do you need to have a spring portal in addition to the portal that opens up right at the end of the season?
No, because that one's messy.
Yeah, that one gets even
but
uglier.
Then the problem is that coaches want to get those guys in well before spring rather than kind of be behind. But it's like you kind of got to pick and choose. I remember Bump's solution was like, then no more like real focus on spring ball and spring whatever. Like push it back a little bit, like a regular NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they get started in July.
Go
June.
to the NFL schedule basically of OTAs starting in April and May.
Or let's say you start. Because the season does start maybe a week earlier and end obviously prior.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you start things in late June, or whatever it is, or in July. But yeah, no. The answer no. We were talking also off air about at what point is it okay? Well, you're not getting scholarships; you're just getting paid. And my thing is, I know that there are some people that are wondering, like, why are they even getting scholarships if they're also getting a ton of money?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that complicates things for schools. Because if universities are no longer giving you scholarships, you're no longer a student. You're going to be a contracted worker. You're going to be an employee. Well, all of a sudden what comes in is, well, what about my health care? What am I owed from you? Do I get workers' comp? If I get injured? Like, I think that the school, by making it, you own your name and likeness, and so you can get paid by third parties, even though the schools oversee a lot of that, it leaves them not as liable versus you being an actual employee.
I believe, I could be wrong about this, the Mac and Jack text line, somebody will probably correct me. I do think, though, as long as you are an enrolled student athlete in these colleges, you do get some kind of health insurance in order to take care of potentially career-threatening injuries. I know a lot of players, a lot of athletes will take out insurance policies while they're in college in case they do have a career-ending injury. I think Arch Manning has one where, if his shoulder blows up, he's still entitled to like $10 million or whatever. I think Marcus Lattimore was one, the former running back at South Carolina, who was a Heisman Trophy finalist. I think at one point he comes back for a senior year and his leg snaps and never has the kind of NFL career that he thought he was going to have. Yeah, but I mean, this is just where college athletics is, and I know a lot of people are uncomfortable with that. I'll be honest, I have not gotten as invested in college athletics as I used to because the turnover from year to year is insane. Like, you don't know who's going to be on your roster the following year, and it's like, well, why invest and root for this kid that is only going to be here for a few months and probably next year is going to go to another school?
And forget the students, coaches. And I know that that's less to do with NIL. Well, it's related in that they are now more incentivized to be like, oh, I have NIL money to work with at this place. I'm out of here.
Right.
Or
all three of us, you, me, and Bump, our alma maters have had head coaching changes within the last 365 days almost.
Yeah.
And we're all of us just kind of blindsided too when that happens. Obviously, the Kalen DeBoer one being the most stunning, coming off of a national championship game appearance. That was ridiculous. But it's a heartbreaking feeling as a college sports fan, knowing that you build up for this great season and the portal guts your program. Coach leaves. It's just like, man, you don't even get a shot at running it back. That's why what UConn was able to do over the last 2 seasons prior to this year in college basketball was crazy. The fact that they went back-to-back in 2023 and 2024, it's nuts how they were able to do that.
Next story in the timeline, 21-year-old amateur golfer Jose Luis Ballester made an interesting business decision during his opening round of the Masters that's got a lot of people big mad.
Well, I completely forgot that we had those restrooms on the left of the tee box.
Oh, okay. 13th tee.
Yes, correct. And then I'm like, I really need to pee. Didn't really know where to go, and since JT had an issue around the green, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sneak here in the river. Probably the people would not see me that much, and then they clap for me. Probably one of the claps that I really got today, really loud. So that was kind of funny.
Concerned that there might be any blowback from that at all, or I mean, obviously they did see you, right?
Yeah, they saw me. They saw me. I mean, it was not embarrassing at all for me. So if I had to do it again, I would do it again.
Again.
I can understand doing that
in a creek in the middle of the Masters
at Augusta. I can understand doing that at like your local municipal golf course where, they may not keep it as neat and tidy as they do at Augusta, but it's Augusta. That's hallowed ground.
And he's doing it with a Sun Devils hat on.
Oh, of course.
An upside down Sun Devils.
Yeah, of course it's a Sun
chaos,
Devil just peeing all over Augusta National. Desecrating.
This isn't a party school.
Yeah, exactly. 21 years old. He probably has no idea. When he looks back, when he's like 45 and looks back at what he did, he's going to be like, man, I probably should have found a bathroom. Also, there's cameras everywhere, dude. It's the Masters.
Should have asked someone, hey, where's the restroom? I need to
can I just take a break here?
Nope, just went for it.
Boy.
Absolutely went for it. Next up, legendary pitching coach to the Stars, Tom House, told Pablo Torre on Thursday he thinks that Shohei Ohtani should stop being a two-way player.
Do you think Shohei Ohtani should keep pitching?
No.
No.
I think he's a hitter. He's proved all he needs to throw, all he needs to do as a pitcher. I think his value to the ball club is on the field every day. And I'm going to say this. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think his shoulders can handle it.
What are you seeing there?
It's a combination of a bunch of stuff. Primarily, the thresholds with heavyweight training are really good for hitting, but not good for pitching. And the everyday stresses of throwing down the hill. When you generate energy on flat ground, the most you can get out of flat ground is about 4 times body weight in foot-pounds of energy. When you're going down the mound, you get about 6 times body weight. I don't think his shoulders can handle that, the deceleration. I haven't ever worked with him. I'm only looking from afar. I'm looking at his mechanics are very good. His makeup is outstanding. He's a dude, but I don't think his body can do both.
Curtis, what do you think?
I mean, it's been almost 2 years since we've seen Shohei Ohtani pitch in a game.
Which is crazy. It doesn't feel like it.
Right. It was the end of 2023. It was August, so it's been like 20 months since we last saw Shohei Ohtani pitch in a game. I don't know if he ever throws again.
I was just about to
I don't know if he
the
needs to throw again because he won MVP as strictly a DH last year. And you look at the Dodgers' rotation depth without him, it's still a top 5 rotation in baseball. I don't think he needs to pitch again. I think he has proven that what he did his first 5 years in baseball is something we will never, ever see again, and is one of the most incredible feats that we've ever seen. But I don't think he needs to keep pitching. And I think even as a hitter, he is still such a jaw-dropping talent that I think if it means we get to see more Ohtani later in his career, then I say hang up the glove.
Time for the IRG injury report brought to you by IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. Victor Robles will miss at least the next 12 weeks, as you already knew, with a shoulder fracture and dislocation. Ryan Bliss underwent surgery for that torn bicep. He's out for the next 4 to 5 months. Coming up next, John Schneider on the John Schneider Show pushed back against the idea that this is a bad quarterback class.
Now that's how you walk that talk, am I right?
3-2 on the way, and it's high and inside. A bases loaded walk-off walk.
The Mariners pull out their best win of the season.
You just need those guys to be who you expect them to be. Rosa ran a monster game.
It is grand salami time.
Is it the spark the M's needed? Find out tonight with a first of 3 against the Rangers. First pitch at 6:40. Pregame at 5:30 after Wyman and Bob on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, and the app.
The azaleas are blooming, and I can hear the theme song in my head right now. It's the Graz here, telling you the Masters is the start of the golf season. Now, why don't you indulge by booking a tee time at any of the 11 fantastic premier courses? That's Inter Bay, Jackson, Bill Wright, West Seattle, Cedar Crest, Bellevue, Linwood, Walter Hall, Legion Memorial, Lake Padden, and their newest course, the Ocean Shores Golf Course. Practice on the range with Top Tracer at Jackson, Inter Bay, and Bill Wright Golf Complex. Play the courses. Play virtual. Play premier.
I've always been a super athletic guy, but after I turned 40, I noticed I was slowing down. Instead of hitting the gym after work, I spent my evenings on the couch with a bag of chips. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and when I did try to work out, I ran out of energy right away. One of my buddies suggested I book a free testosterone check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that low T doesn't just impact how guys perform in the bedroom. I worked with a provider to create my custom treatment plan, and today I'm feeling stronger than ever. Last week, I even set a new PR at the gym. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check,
Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
Mike Salk here, and luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. And this summer, you can experience the breathtaking Cascade views, the world-class dining and entertainment, and elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost relaxation. Plus, Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel's award-winning outdoor summer concert series is back with amazing artists like Hanson, Austin Jenks, Melanie Fiona, and POD. This summer, overlooking the beautiful Snoqualmie Valley, snocasino.com for tickets. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Yeah, I have a ton of really memorable customers. So one of my favorite customers I've ever had, he came in and had a really bad experience with several different dealerships. He just lost his husband. His husband left him with a truck, and he was like, I don't need a truck. Like, this is so impractical for me. And it was a really emotional decision for him because it was one of the last things that he had, obviously husbands. We were like, it's no problem. Like, we're going to help you. And we did the process the same way that we always do the process. And we helped him trade in his truck for a beautiful new Rogue. And that was really cool. And he bought his second car from us. And I'm sure when he needs a third car, he'll come back and buy his third car from Nissan too. Afterwards, to thank us, he sent us this beautiful basket of like candies and fruits and stuff.
Making a great day for the people around you is making a great day for yourself. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
The Mariners have a great slate of giveaways and special events all season long. Don't miss your chance to score a City Connect Captain's Hat Friday, April 25th, and a Moose Shoulder Plush Saturday, April 26th. Then get ready for a special Mother's Day weekend at the ballpark Friday, May 9th through Sunday, May 11th, featuring a clear purse giveaway for the first 10,000 moms on Sunday the 11th, thanks to Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Go to mariners.com/promos to get your tickets and check out the complete promotion schedule.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nellie on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on seattlesports.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Here it comes, the second huge online equipment auction of the year. Produced by the James G. Murphy Company. Bidding is underway now and closes at 10 a.m. Wednesday the 17th. Over 800 items are on the block, including heavy equipment, trucks, and logging gear, including a 2016 Link Belt 210 XT TLN log loader, a 2014 CAT 320 DFM log loader, and a 2014 Komatsu 931.1 forwarder. If you're looking for construction equipment, we got 16 excavators, 5 wheel loaders, 4 backhoes, and 2 pavers. Plus, there's a great selection of 12 late model dump trucks, including 5 Peterbilt 367s from model year 2013 to 2020. Check out all this gear in person during inspection days, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday the 15th and Wednesday, April 16th at our Marysville location. Bidding is underway now. For pictures and all details, check out murphyauction.com. That's murphyauction.com. murphyauction.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
More from the John Schneider show. We went over his comments about Geno Smith feeling disrespected, about Richard Sherman feeling like there's a kind of a bad relationship or maybe a mistreatment of veterans with the program. So again, go back and listen to that at the start of the show. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. We're getting on to some other things from John Schneider. Let's talk about the draft. draft. Let's talk about what's happening on the field. First, Schneider, interestingly, pushes back against the idea that this isn't a good quarterback class.
No, I think it depends on the team, how they view the player, the quarterback. Again, how you're going to acquire him, where you're going to acquire him. Bringing him through the building is another. It's really about, okay, more time. We need more answers. We need more time with this player based on the questions that we need answered in terms of the vision we see for this player and the fit. It's not necessarily like it's separate from how you can acquire the player on draft weekend.
Obviously, always interesting to hear John talk about this quarterback class at all, because I think people are wondering, if not at 18, do they take one?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they should?
I think they should. I think you should definitely consider taking a quarterback in this draft. Do I think it should be in the first round? Probably not. I think if you can get the guy that you think is your guy I think I'd be most comfortable with a third-round quarterback in this year's draft. Now, the talking points that would stem from the draft, if the Seahawks did take a first-round quarterback,
selfishly,
or did take a second-round quarterback,
sign me up.
Exactly. If you take a quarterback, I think in the first 2 rounds, you are expecting to see them start a game at some point in 2025, which then is kind of like, well, then why did you make this big financial commitment to Sam Darnold? But you're also kind of hedging your bet the way the Falcons did last year, and I think the Falcons are in a better spot going into 2025 with Michael Penix as their quarterback than they would be with Kirk Cousins as their quarterback. But I think the Seahawks should consider a quarterback, but probably not before the second round.
On a very related note, you immediately made me think of another cut that we have.
Okay.
John Schneider was asked, it was a really good question by Bob, being like, hey, when you're picking at 18, I get that 1 through 10, 1 through 12, you're like, this guy's a starter. And not only that, but my expectation is he should be a Pro Bowler. He should do these things. When you get into the mid to late second round, like, do you have different expectations? Do you look at him and say, even though he's a first rounder, it's developmental? Like, what do you think of picking at 18?
It's part of the grading scale, which I'm not going to explain to you, but yes. But, it's the expectation at 18 is the guy's a starter for sure, yeah. And it's, there's grades throughout that, give you different guidance.
Look, I know we all love the idea of a quarterback at 18, but if John is saying the idea at 18 is we are picking a starter, I don't see that player being a quarterback who's going to develop for a year or two.
No, I don't see it either. And maybe that's a smokescreen, but where the Seahawks are right now, and especially with like how close they were to winning the division last year, you want to have as many talented guys as you can. And I don't think this is a year in which you take a project at 18. I don't think this is a year in which you take a guy that is going to be, his best version of himself like 2-3 years down the line. I think you got to get a guy in here that is ready to contribute from day one, ready to hit the ground running, because I think the NFC West can still be had, even though the Rams, I think, are more talented than the Seahawks are. I think, as we saw last year, they were not far off from beating the Rams in that first game of the year. It went to overtime. They beat them in the second game of the year because, Jimmy Garoppolo was starting at that point. But I don't think the NFC West is as cut and dry as I think a lot of us kind of assume it to be right now. I think there is opportunity for the Seahawks to make some noise this season, even with a new quarterback in Sam Darnold. Heck, I'm not completely out on the 49ers either. I still think they have a lot of talent on that roster. And yes, they've had to cut some of the fat away, but I still think there are pieces to like on that roster. Yeah. So it can still be had. And if you're picking at 18, you're going to need somebody that is going to be ready to go from day one.
Look, whose theory still stands, given the lack of depth in the wide receiver room, is yours, Curtis. You want to see them take a receiver at 18. Taking a receiver at 18, he's going to be a starter.
Yeah.
He's not going to be wide receiver 1, but there will be availability and reps and targets for him, absolutely, in a wide receiver room that suddenly is fairly shallow. I know they brought in 2 free agents, obviously most notably Cooper Kupp, but I'm not expecting 1,000 yards from Cooper Kupp.
No.
I would be ecstatic about 600 yards from Cooper Kupp. And so, to get someone else in there would be really fun. I'm also thinking, like, if your expectation is he's a starter, do you take an offensive lineman? Maybe you draft. It's a slightly better for tackles. Maybe you take a tackle and move him over. I'm not super high on that idea, but they know more than I do. I liked hearing, though, who we take at 18, that's a guy contributing immediately.
Yeah.
Meaning we're looking for guys who can.
I think I'm right there with John Schneider. You got to have as many guys contributing right out of the gate in 2025.
I wonder what one former Seahawks player thinks they should do at 18. Seahawks radio analyst Bryan joins us next.
Now that's how you walk that talk, am I right?
3-2 on the way, and it's high and inside. A bases loaded walk-off walk.
The Mariners pull out their best win of the season.
You just need those guys to be who you expect them to be. Rosa ran a monster game.
It is grand salami time.
Is it the spark the M's needed? Find out tonight with a first of 3 against the Rangers. First pitch at 6:40. Pregame at 5:30 after Wyman and Bob on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, and the app.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of their National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through April 20th. Stop by any of their participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. That's drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only, take up to $3,500 off an energy-efficient Bryan cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
Right now, have beautiful, ultra-efficient, clean technology windows installed and pay 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 18 months, only from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. And they'll even pay your sales tax. Visit lakewashingtonwindows.com.
Spring cleaning isn't just for clutter. Let Benjamin Franklin Plumbing take care of your appliances. From water heater replacement or repair to advanced water filtration installation, Benjamin Franklin Plumbing is here to provide a worry-free summer for you and your family. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com to schedule. You can count on the punctual plumbers, where your comfort and safety come first. Book now. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey, Brock Heward here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO, Shannon O'Kelly. Now, Shannon, I need to ask you if what I've been hearing is true. You don't need a referral, really, to see a physical therapist in the state of Washington?
That's exactly right, Brock. The state of Washington is a state that has what's called direct access. That means that if you get up in the morning, for example, and you hurt your back or did something to your muscles or tendons or joints, you can call a physical therapist directly, and we can get you in that same day and start your care and your recovery process.
How can patients get scheduled with IRG?
Oh, it's easy. You just contact us at irgpt.com. We'll direct you to our concierge service, and we'll take care of all that for you. We handle all the authorization, verification. We want our patients to understand their insurance benefits and what the outcomes are going to be with their visit to IRG Physical and Hand Therapy.
Please, please, please don't let injuries keep you from your passion. Schedule online today at irgpt.com and start the journey back to your best self.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way
over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
It's a reunion for Joe Flacco and the Browns. Cleveland has signed their former quarterback, now 40 years old, to a one-year, $4 million deal. The Mariners are back in action today after an off day yesterday. They're going to open a series against the Rangers at 6:40. Bryce Miller on the mound. Pregame starts at 5:30 right here on Seattle Sports.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Seahawks radio analyst and former Seahawk Bryan Walters joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Bryan, how's it going?
Hey, Stacy. Good. How are you doing? Did I hear Curtis and not a Bump today?
You did.
Yeah, Bump's probably watching round 2 of the Masters. I don't know what he's doing, but you got Curtis.
He's definitely
a strong
definitely having a Masters day. But at least now I get to talk trash about his golf game without him being able to defend himself. This is perfect.
He's absolutely going to find out.
So are you saying that him shooting a 76 may be fake news?
When did that happen? Last year? Does he still talk about that one time he shot that 76?
I think he talks about it weekly at least.
I would say once a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, first it was a 77, then it was a 76. So it kind of cycled back. You know what I mean?
I have so many things to say about that, but then it's going to get us off topic, and we'll talk this whole segment about golf. So
you know what? After Bump spending so much time yesterday talking about golf, I think I'm going to jump back to football here, Bryan, for all of our sakes.
Sounds good to me.
I was asked a question by Mike Salk earlier that I'm actually going to ask you because I liked it, and it was, hey, let's say that round 4, day 3 of the draft, Saturday morning kicks off, and, you're looking back on what the Seahawks have done. What kind of moves or what kind of start to the draft would make you feel like it was a good start? Like, basically, what do you want them to do with their most valuable picks?
The most valuable pick, obviously, the number 18 first-round pick. I would – this is such a tough question. It really is, because the Seahawks don't go with what you would expect, right? You expect a need. You expect to get the offensive line. You expect to get that whole thing going. But like I said, the one thing that you think they would do, I'm ruling that out. I'm saying there's no % chance they actually do that. I think I would also, as a receiver, I want to see him go with another receiver. I think you have to do that. I think with Cooper Kupp coming in, and I mean, I don't see Cooper Kupp as the long-term solution. Obviously, that's not like a hot take or anything. He's not the long-term solution at wide receiver for this team to be paired with JSN. So you need to get a guy in there. You need to get a guy in there that's going to be that solid number 2, even a number 1 guy with JSN. And I think that would be a really cool place to start. If a guy like Matthew Golden from Texas falls to 18, I mean, I think that would be a no-brainer. You get a little 4.2 speed at the wide receiver position. You lost DK Metcalf, and he was your burner. He was your guy that kind of stretched the defense. And getting a guy who runs a 4.2 speed, I know he's not the same size as DK or the physical specimen, would bring that ability to stretch the field back. And he's good. He's a much better route runner than DK Metcalf. Much better. I mean, that's what he prides himself in, his route running in his hands. So I would love that pick, but that's a big if because he probably will go a little earlier, is my guess. So I'm biased. I'm a wideout. I love to see the wideouts, the most athletic position on the field. You heard it here first. Get picked. That's what I would like to see.
We can't get away from this wide receiver propaganda, Stacy. Bumps out. We've decided to bring on another wide receiver.
I thought we'd have an escape, and instead it's just.
Did I tell you that one time I shot a 76?
Yeah, exactly.
No, wait, is this Bump?
Is in
take
studio.
off the B-Wall mask. Jeez. No. Bryan, is there a position that if the Seahawks win at 18, you'd be like, I don't know about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Unless a generational talent like Ashton Genty falls back to 18, they're not going to take a running back. I mean, that's kind of a given. I know that's not going to happen. I would totally doubt that. Safety, they're not going to take a safety. I wouldn't be surprised if he could take a corner. I know he likes taking corners early, and if you can get an athlete like that, I think that would fill a big need, and you'd have 3 solid corners then on this roster, and you wouldn't have to worry about that position for the near future. But the obvious ones are safety and running back. I think there's 0% chance he ends up, the Seahawks and John Schneider end up taking a position like that. I would be scratching my head if that's the case.
What about quarterback?
Yeah, that's a tricky one too, because quarterback, the whole Sam Darnold deal, he's also not guaranteed to be the long-term solution at quarterback. And I like Sam Darnold. I love that move. I think he's going to do great things for the Seahawks. So a quarterback still wouldn't surprise me because I think it's the perfect situation for a young quarterback to get into. And I'm a huge advocate, and I've always kind of preached this, that a quarterback coming from college to the pro, I love it if he can sit and wait and sit and learn and not get thrown into the fire immediately. I think that's a huge thing. And at the 18th pick, I don't know what quarterback. I guess Jackson Dart's kind of the rumor. If he falls that far, even Shadur Sanders could fall that far. From what I've been hearing, there's talks about him. I think that would be a good chance for him to sit and wait, and learn and develop. So if they draft any quarterback at all in the first round, it would be a guy that I would love the situation, because that would be your future quarterback, but they actually get to develop him. They're not going to throw him in the fire. You're not going to have those growing pains that so many teams have having that rookie quarterback starting. And, where you just get those head scratching moments of, and it just, like I said, 1 or 2 rookie mistakes from a quarterback changes the whole outcome of a game. And 1 or 2 plays change the outcome of a game. So if you have a quarterback in there, it's going to take wins from you. A rookie quarterback will take wins from your team. So I wouldn't be shocked if they took a quarterback. It wouldn't make me mad at all, because I know that's how they're building for the future.
Bryan, what'd you make of Geno Smith's comments this week where he said he felt a little disrespected by the number of outs that there were in the Seahawks offer to him compared to what he got with Vegas? Do you feel like the Seahawks maybe should have, given a little bit more to Geno, or do you think the path that they're on now with Sam Darnold is the right move?
Well, I think the Seahawks did the smart thing, and I hate to use the word bargain hunting, but they're trying to get the best deal for their team, and they knew what they wanted. They knew what they were willing to offer and how they were willing to offer it, and then they had to have had Plan B very close to Plan A. Like the Sam Darnold option had to have been in the making. They're like, hey, we're going to offer Geno this first. If this is a no, boom, we got this Plan B, and we really like where we're going to go. So no, I don't think that they. I like how they handled the whole situation. Really, I'm a big Geno fan. I really like what Geno does, how he throws the ball. I think he's going to be really good in Oakland. See, how many times I'm going to do that so often? I don't know why. In Las Vegas, I think he's going to be great for Pete Carroll, and I really like him. But it's just the Seahawks handled that situation brilliantly, in my opinion. To turn it into a Sam Darnold, one of the biggest quarterback free agent signings, and then get the 3rd round pick as well. You'd save a lot of salary cap room, and you just have a lot more room to build the rest of the team now with a quarterback that is totally capable of handling those duties. I mean, you know what's crazy to me? I was thinking about this the other day. A few years ago, would we have ever thought that the market value for Geno Smith would be almost double the market value for Russell Wilson?
No, and it's a wild place to be.
Crazy to think about.
Bryan, speaking of quarterbacks, I got some breaking news, and normally I have Bump here to react, but I'm now turning to you. You're my analyst today.
Okay,
So,
here we go.
It's not big news, but it is intriguing news. So I want to just get your immediate gut reaction, first reaction to it. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I know that we're on the topic. Veteran quarterback Drew Lock agrees to terms with the Seahawks. Drew Lock back in Seattle. I know that he was someone that John Schneider really liked. It certainly doesn't mean he's surpassing Sam Darnold on a depth chart, but what's your first reaction to that news?
That just happened. That's breaking news.
Within about a minute, yeah.
Well, I don't think they're going to be taking a quarterback with the 18th pick anymore. Now they got a room full of quarterbacks with Sam Howell and Sam Darnold and Drew Lock. So you got a lot of guys that are capable of holding down that one spot if needed. That's gonna be competition. Sam Howell is not guaranteed a job with this team. I think the Seahawks usually just take two quarterbacks on the roster. And Drew Lock is very familiar with the team, with everything. I like Drew Lock. I think he is. I think Sam Howell probably has more tangibles. You know, a little faster, maybe a stronger arm and all that. But I think Drew Lock takes care of the ball a lot better. I think if you're gonna be a backup quarterback, you can't be a guy that takes a lot of risks, that is going to potentially throw 3 or 4 interceptions when you get put in there. And that's where I do like Drew Lock in that spot, is just a guy that kind of, I'm not going to say dummy down the offense, but just to kind of handle like maybe the simpler throws of an offense and know he's not going to just have a detrimental play where, you know, pick 6 or something just like that. Because, you know, that's Sam Howell's kind of MO a little bit, is interceptions. And that's the one thing that has killed the Seahawks over the past few years. So I think getting a guy like Drew Lock there as potentially that number 2 guy is just more of a safety net for the Seahawks. But I like it. Welcome back, Drew Lock. I know he liked it here, so that's cool. It's good to bring familiar faces back.
I apologize for interrupting our conversation. I just was like, well, we have an analyst.
Might as well get an answer out of him.
We're getting an analyst right now. I want to get this question in before we have to hang up with him. Like, I want to get Bryan's take on this while we've got him.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
B-Wall, do you think the Seahawks then go into this season with 3 quarterbacks, or do you think maybe this could mean one of Drew Lock or Sam Howell? I mean, maybe there's a competition for the backup job during camp. Like, how do you see them going forth with 3 quarterbacks that all have starting experience in the NFL?
No, yeah, they're not going to have 3 starting experienced quarterbacks on the 53-man roster. I should know all this, but I have kind of refused to look into it a little. I don't know how a little practice squad situation looks or works anymore. I don't know if Drew Lock or Sam Howell are still eligible to be on practice squad. The rule have changed so much since I played, where you could only, once you really played on an active roster for a year or so, you couldn't be on practice squad. I think that's changed. So I don't know if they're going to try to sneak one of these guys onto a practice squad and be that third emergency quarterback that the new rules allow, I guess. But I only see two quarterbacks on the roster. That's how they've pretty much always done it. And I think that's how they'll keep it. There's too many other valuable positions that you need to load up on for game day. You only suit up 46 guys, and those defensive line, offensive line positions take up a lot of them, and you need a lot of those guys because they're constantly, the defensive line especially, running in and out, and it's just not worth having a guy sitting there with a hat on and a headset who has a 0.5% chance of getting in the game as a third string quarterback.
It's a good take, though, of it kind of tells us what they're not going to do in the draft. They have a lot of other areas to address. For you, Bryan, when you look at this team and what the goal is going to be, if the clear, win a Super Bowl, but I don't know how many people actually expect that. So when it comes to team building, what to you is the clear goal? What to you get to the end of 2025 and go, I can check this box off if they did this correctly?
Well, are you talking about like projecting their finish, kind of playoff team?
I mean more of like I asked Paul a similar question, and he was like, I just want to know who they want to be. Like, I just want to know if they have an identity and if that's what they are. So it could be, hey, I want to know that they took a step forward on the offensive line. Maybe they're a top 5 defense. Like, what to you feels like a good step forward for this team?
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 things. One, offensively, I think you said it, the offensive line. I think proving to themselves that these young guys they have drafted and are trying to develop are actually going to pan out. I think that'll be a huge thing for this team because, again, I think they still have confidence in these guys. Those 3 or 4 young guys that had to play last year and really thrown into it. I think there's just so much potential there still, and I think there's a chance that they can be good offensive linemen for this team and really get into this Kubiak system with new coach, new system, maybe some simpler blocking schemes that maybe don't put them on island as much as, just spreading 5 wide and passing the ball 40 times a game, kind of how Grubb set the guys up to do. So I think that could be huge just to see the improvement there. And the run game, the run blocking. I think running the ball more is going to help the offensive line. No matter if you went in with last year's offensive line to this offense and just knew you were going to be running the ball more, they're going to pass block a lot better too, because defenses can't just sit back and pull their ears back and go, knowing you're going to pass. So I think that would be my offensive. I would just love to see that. I'd love to see how these young guys have developed, because maybe it's not as pressing of a need as a lot of us think. Maybe they need one offensive lineman, to really fill a gap there. But for the most part, they have some, hopefully some potentially talented guys on the roster who can fill a spot. Defensively, you just need the Mike McDonald identity. That's it. Just what they had when they were in Baltimore. You always knew about the Ravens defense. That was it. It was the Ravens. And they had Lamar Jackson. That's what's crazy. But you just knew that Ravens defense was so good. And that's what you want to get out of this year. You want teams to know that the Seattle defense is back. And they finished the season last year like that. And I think they've really taken the right steps with, re-signing Ernest Jones was the biggest defensive thing, and getting that interior line kind of all situated. So I think just having that Mike McDonald aura around him, I guess, would be the biggest thing after the season. I look back and say, yeah, they made their impact. They're back. People have to fear this defense again.
Seahawks radio analyst Bryan Walters. Bryan, you're the best. Thanks so much for joining us. And we will pass along all of your golf trash talk to Bump. We'll make sure that he hears from it. What's been your best? Is there a score we could give Bump where it's like, well, Bryan shot, a 72. So. Well,
you know what? It's Masters Week. I shot a 66 is my lowest score.
Wow.
Holy
cow. Yeah,
wow.
And actually, I had the opportunity to go play Augusta. I did. I played it 3 times. And I shot this the day before I went to Augusta. I shot a 66. I went and practiced. I was grinding for like a month getting ready for this trip.
You got to get out there to Augusta.
If I have another 1 minute, this is kind of funny though. That's true. But if I have one more minute with you guys here, I went to that first hole at Augusta. And I'm like, my game is on point. Here we go. I'm going to shoot course record here at Augusta. And I piped this thing down the middle of the fairway. I had like 60 yards in on number 1. I just always remember this. And I'm like, yep, I'm here. Here we go. This is going to be easy. So then the next shot, I proceeded to scold it about 40 yards over the green, hit it back up. I got a double bogey on one and just battled the course the next 3 rounds I played there. I was beat up and tired, and the golf game did not translate to what that course offered. It was brutal.
Oh, God. Well, Rory having a tough time, too. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah,
it's
not just
fun to watch.
thing.
It's fun to watch them struggle. It's not just a me thing, which is good.
Yeah. Yep. We call him Bryan Scotty Scheffler Walters.
Yeah.
Kind enough to join us.
There we
Bryan,
go.
thanks so much.
Thanks, Bryan.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Oh, wow. You know what I'm telling Bump first thing on Monday? Why didn't you tell us that Bryan shot a 66?
Yeah, that's 10 shots better than you've ever done.
Tell Bubba I'm going to text him right now. I'm going to text him, and I'm going to say, I'm going to text him in the thread. I'm going to text him in the thread.
You in terms of best score ever.
Bryan Walters shot a 66. Okay, we're sending it right now, guys. Wow. We'll let you know if he responds.
Oh, yeah,
he's
going to be in shambles getting that news.
Let's get to headline rewrites where we have more news.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, moments ago, the Seahawks and Drew Lock have agreed to terms on a deal. What's the real headline?
Sounds like Sam Howell isn't a lock to be the backup.
Sure does not seem like it.
What'd you make of, we were able to, I feel so bad for interrupting Bryan. I pulled up the breaking news.
I mean, we had to get to it.
Well, we had to get to it. I thought we'd have a little less time than we ended up having, so I was so sorry. But what'd you make of Bryan's immediate take, which was, well, it tells me they're probably not going to draft a quarterback.
I think that's a pretty safe assumption. I think they looked at this quarterback market in the draft and kind of like, you know what? We've got Drew Lock on speed dial. We can get him here at the drop of a hat, and especially this close to the draft. You've got 3 guys, all have starting experience in the NFL in your quarterback room right now. And also, I think this is also a way to hedge your bet on Sam Darnold in case things don't work out with him. Mm-hmm. You've got Drew Lock, who has at least experience in the building, maybe not with the Kubiak offense, but has at least been here. This also says to me, Stacy, too, there are definitively John Schneider guys and Pete Carroll guys. In the divorce between John Schneider and Pete Carroll, John Schneider gets Drew Lock, Pete Carroll gets Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Like, this is as clear as day. That, I mean, we heard last year John Schneider say there's no such thing as Pete and John guys. We're all Seahawks here. I think there is such a thing as Pete and John guys.
Speaking of getting each quarterback in the divorce, you know what's always been weird to me about the Parent Trap, and I'm sorry if I offend anyone. I've just thought about this a lot
that
as
they
an adult.
used a single person to play 2 characters?
Yes and no. I was going to say that this couple had twin girls.
And they never let the other one know?
And instead of being like, oh, we're going to share custody. And I know that sometimes in divorces, children, like sometimes even siblings will live with a parent that like maybe they just have a better relationship. Maybe they're close to a school or a team. Like that part of it isn't weird. Like I know people who have like that kind of situation. But they moved apart and then never let the siblings meet each other or know that the other existed. Is kind of weird.
Yes.
So again, I'm sorry if I offend anyone who's a long-lost twin. I really do not mean to make this personally.
They're probably like 11 or 12 years old at that point too. Like, when were you going to tell them?
Yeah,
were you ever going to tell them?
And all you gave them was a clearly ripped up picture where like there's clearly someone else in the photo. That's weird. That's super weird. And I know that this has nothing to do with football or sports in any way, but I loved the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap when I was younger. I loved it.
Yeah.
And then only when I was older did I think, man, that's pretty messed up. That's all. They all got back together.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, Ryan Bliss will miss the next 4 to 5 months after having surgery on his torn bicep. What's the real headline?
Team that wants to be aggressive on base paths lost 2 of their most athletic players. Not a joke, just a reality and what that headline is actually saying.
It's going to be much tougher sledding for the Mariners to get things going on the base paths, which was something that I know Dan Wilson had talked about a lot in this offseason, where, hey, we're going to create opportunities for ourselves. We're going to make it easier on ourselves by swiping bags. Your 2 fastest guys are out for the majority of this season. And that's going to be really tough to make up for. I hope that the Mariners, first off, I hope Jorge Polanco can get healthy and start playing the field a little bit more. That will allow you to have Dylan Moore play second base or third base. You can have Jorge Polanco play second or third rather than have Polanco just occupy that DH spot. That, to me, is going to be a big way for the Mariners to make up for this loss over the next summer. So I think that's going to be huge for them to get Jorge Polanco healthy so that this injury doesn't impact them. That doesn't really debilitate them.
Yeah. Back to the Parent Trap. The 360 says also that the other parent never had contact with their other child.
Yeah. They were like, oh, you're so big now.
I'm so sorry. I can't let this go. I promise for the next hour and a half, I swear I will not mention the Parent Trap. And that it was the
housekeeper that was the first to sniff it out, not the parent.
Yes! Okay, for the rest of the show, I'm not going to mention the Parent Trap once.
Okay.
I promise. I promise I won't. What's last?
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, it is cut down day at the Masters. Let's take a look at these standings right now. We got Justin Rose still atop the leaderboard. He shot a -1 today, a -1. He is at -8. Bryson DeChambeau finishing up his round at -7. Rory storming back with a -6 today.
Go,
He's in third
Rory.
place. What's the real headline?
Now I understand why Curtis is in for bump today.
Yeah, Bump, we have not heard from him yet.
Not at all. He hasn't even texted back.
No, he has not. Not once. It's all quiet on the Bump front today.
I'm just going to text him and say how those greens playing.
Yeah. That's how we used to end every segment with him back when he was just a weekly guest. How those greens playing. Because so often he'd be calling in from a golf course. You could hear just whack in the background.
Yeah.
Like your birds chirping. We know you're on the golf course.
Coming up next, ESPN's Kevin Clark has a scorching hot take on Cam Ward.
Now that's how you walk that talk, am I right?
3-2 on the way, and it's high and inside. A bases loaded walk-off walk.
The Mariners pull out their best win of the season.
You just need those guys to be who you expect them to be. Rosa ran a monster game.
It is grand salami time.
Is it the spark the M's needed? Find out tonight with a first of 3 against the Rangers. First pitch at 6:40. Pregame at 5:30 after Wyman and Bob on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, and the app.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and 1 unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rate supply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus 1 unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus 1 unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
When you have really good leaders, it makes it easy.
Gia arrived at Lee Johnson after 10 years at another dealership.
You know your job, but then you have people who you can rely on to help you with the big stuff that, you need that support from. And I've gotten that every day with my service manager, with our assistant service manager, with even like our GM and our GSM. The way that, we're now on the showroom together, we are so close-knit just as a department. My service manager here, he's always open to teach you whatever you want to know. He just wants everybody to do good around him, and if somebody wants to learn something, I'm here to do it. And I've never had a service manager like that before. They're really good at promoting from within. That's one thing that I've learned from working here. I see people start out as a lot porter, and people work their way all the way up to being a general manager.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Right now, have beautiful, ultra-efficient, clean technology windows installed and pay 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 18 months. Only from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. And they'll even pay your sales tax. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
Discover LeMay, America's car museum in Tacoma. Explore 300 world-class cars, 100 years of history, and the Shinka exhibit with 50 iconic Japanese sports cars. Thrilling race simulators and fun for the whole family. Visit americascarmuseum.org.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more. And as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code GROW. SwishRadio.com, code GROW.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Mike Salk here, and luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, where comfort meets elegance. And this summer, you can experience the breathtaking Cascade views, the world-class dining and entertainment, and elevate your next getaway by combining effortless style with the utmost relaxation. Plus, Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel's award-winning outdoor summer concert series is back with amazing artists like Hanson, Austin Jenks, Melanie Fiona, and POD. This summer, overlooking the beautiful Snoqualmie Valley, snocasino.com for tickets. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Here it comes, the second huge online equipment auction of the year, produced by the James G. Murphy Company. Bidding is underway now and closes at 10 a.m. Wednesday the 17th. Over 800 items are on the block, including heavy equipment, trucks, and logging gear, including a 2016 Link-Belt 210 XT TLN log loader, a 2014 CAT 320 DFM log loader, and a 2014 Komatsu 931.1 forwarder. If you're looking for construction equipment, we got 16 excavators, 5 wheel loaders, 4 backhoes, and 2 pavers. Plus, there's a great selection of 12 late model dump trucks, including 5 Peterbilt 367s from model year 2013 to 2020. Check out all this gear in person during inspection days, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday the 15th and Wednesday, April 16th at our Marysville location. Bidding is underway now. For pictures and all details, check out murphyauction.com. That's murphyauction.com. murphyauction.com.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I really do always love them. And ESPN's Kevin Clark has one when it comes to Cam Ward. This one's a little wild. Hear him out.
When he came into the league thought that Patrick Mahomes was ranked lower than John Ross, who went ahead of him. Solomon Thomas, Corey Davis. He was not Mahomesian when he came into the league. Now he is. Ward is not going to have the best offensive play caller of his generation, not have Tyreek Hill, not have Travis Kelce. I understand that part of it. But when I watch Cam Ward play on a down-to-down basis, I see the best improviser I've seen since Patrick Mahomes. I see a guy who can execute quickly. He can do Superman and he can do Clark Kent. And that is why Patrick Mahomes is so great. He can do the flashes and he can do the simple stuff. To me, he has Mahomes' flaws at the college level. He tried to do too much because he understood how bad his own defense was. He knew he had to play hero ball. That led to some maybe cross-body throws he shouldn't have done. That, to me, tracks as Mahomes. He will be more disciplined in the NFL, and I like the comparison, and I'm sticking with it.
Listen.
Boy.
Listen to me. There are a couple games you can find where you see Cam Ward, like I'm looking at a clip against Florida, Cal, a couple games where you see him do a Mahomesy thing, which is scramble around. Oh my God, he's going to get sacked. He's going to get knocked over. He's going to get hit. Something's going to happen, and he doesn't. And then makes an on-target, fairly powerful throw. I'm not mad at the comp. I just think it's kind of like, okay, I can see it, but it always sounds audacious to say he looks like the best quarterback we've seen since Tom Brady.
I will say Kevin Clark does make a good point in that Mahomes was not thought to be the next coming of Tom Brady.
No, it was like,
he's
in an air raid. What's he going to do?
Yeah, he's got a cannon for an arm, but what can he accomplish at the pro level?
And what has he accomplished?
Multiple MVPs, 3 Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowl trips in, 6 years as a starter?
5 Super Bowl rings.
7 years as a starter? Yeah, it's been absurd. I will say, though, Patrick Mahomes, some of his single-game performances at Texas Tech, I'm looking at his game log right now on Sports Reference. Some of the yardage totals are just insane. 540, 586, 598, and then get this, 2016 against Oklahoma, 734 yards in one game.
Stop.
5 touchdowns.
It's beyond
88
disrespectful.
pass attempts that day.
Gaudy. You didn't have a running back? You did not.
No, you didn't even attempt to run the ball.
88 pass
Was that his overtime game against Baker?
It was against Baker Mayfield, yeah. Baker threw for 545 that day, 7 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes had 734 yards and 5 touchdowns. What's funny is that he also had 85 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground that day. Patrick Mahomes had over 800 all-purpose yards in one college football game.
We willed ourselves collectively as an NFL audience into not seeing what was right in front of us with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole Texas Tech label.
Mm-hmm.
You are branded, especially as a quarterback, when you're wearing the Texas Tech uniform as a certain kind of quarterback. You are not going to be anything more than just an air raid guy. You know, you're quick, like 2-yard passes and whatnot. But nah, Patrick Mahomes clearly worthy of that first-round title. I just don't see it with Cam Ward as a potential Patrick Mahomes guy. Now, one thing to note about this hot take, Kevin Clark is a Miami alum.
Yeah.
Cam Ward went to Miami this last
year. I like
year.
Kevin Clark a lot. He's super smart, super funny.
One of my favorite NFL voices
Kevin,
on ESPN.
Listen.
Come on, buddy.
I think I know what's at play. It's like when I sit here and I go, I honestly think Michael Penix Jr., like,
is the
he
next
should
Joe
be an
Montana.
MVP consideration this year.
Exactly.
Like, let's see what happens with him. Like, no matter what, I'll be like, well, look, I know he threw 5 interceptions in the first half, but
let's look past that.
Let's look past that. Let's look at he picked up 10 yards.
He did.
On a scramble.
Look at the yardage gained.
It was 3rd and 20. He picked up 10, but he picked up 10. You know
That's
what
right.
I mean?
That's right.
Next up, as for the other possible first-round quarterback, Mel Kiper Jr. sees only a pair of teams as a fit for Shedeur Sanders.
I think it's New Orleans or Pittsburgh. That's what I've thought all along, that New Orleans may look quarterback because of Kellen Moore. You want your head coach to handpick your quarterback. He can take Shedeur Sanders. He could look to take Jackson Dart. He could trade down. He could get the quarterback. He could even look second round if he didn't take one at 9. Then you think about Pittsburgh. Yes, maybe not Dart, as Adam Schefter suggested a few weeks ago, but what if Shedeur's there at 21? They didn't trade up when they got Ben Roethlisberger at 11, when Eli and Rivers went earlier. So to me, it's going to be interesting to see what Pittsburgh does. If he gets past Pittsburgh, do the Rams take him? That allows somebody to trade back into the back half of round 1 and get him. So for Shedeur, 9, 21, or good luck.
I am intrigued by both of those landing spots. I do wonder what happens when it comes to Aaron Rodgers if Shedeur is taken by the Steelers, because he's not necessarily like this developmental project.
Right.
You know, if you're taking Shedeur, you're presumably starting Shedeur Sanders.
I think so. Boy, if the Steelers did get Shedeur, I think that would be best case scenario for them. I think they might be one of the biggest winners of the draft, especially considering where they're picking at 21, as Kiper said. I don't see Sanders falling that far in this draft. I think he is good enough to be taken in the first half of this first round. And depending on the needs of a lot of these teams at the top of the draft, I think it's a very real possibility that he goes in the top 10. I 1,000% agree with him, though, that if he's there with the Steelers at pick number 21, they would be foolish to pass on him. Yes. Absolutely foolish.
Next up, The Athletic's Diana Rossini has her thoughts on why we aren't seeing many trade talks involving first-round picks this close to the draft.
Just based on talking to teams over the last week or so, I'm not predicting a lot of movement up at all.
Yeah.
You know, I'm seeing more of anything. Everyone's trying to get out.
Curtis, you would like to see the Seahawks move up. I don't think they will. I don't think John Schneider likes to. I think he likes more picks. I could see him even trading back into the first round as opposed to going up. But you wouldn't mind seeing it.
I wouldn't mind it. I wonder, too, if you wouldn't have to give up as much to move up in this year's draft simply because
there's not as much competition.
Exactly. So maybe that works in your favor, too. I think there is an avenue in which you can move up and get somebody that is a potential star in this draft.
Yeah.
Like, what if the Seahawks moved up and got, like, Will Campbell on the offensive line? I don't know if they're going to move up to, like, pick 5 to get him, but I'd be okay with that. I would not be mad at them bringing in a starting tackle. Like, I get that you have Abe Lucas on this roster, but I think Will Campbell has a higher ceiling than Abe Lucas does.
Next up, the Commanders and veteran backup quarterback Josh Johnson have agreed to a 1-year deal. The following is a list of teams
We're going to read the whole thing.
Josh Johnson has played on throughout his career. Buccaneers, 49ers, Sacramento Mountain Lions in 2012, Browns, Bengals, 49ers again, Bengals again, Jets, Colts, Bills, Ravens, Giants, Texans, Raiders.
We're only to 2018.
Commanders, not then the Commanders, San Diego Fleet, Lions, LA Wildcats, 49ers, Jets, Ravens, a couple stints with a couple teams, Broncos, 49ers again, Ravens again, Commanders again. Honestly,
keep getting them checks, Josh Johnson.
Keep going to the bank to make those deposits. I simply cannot hate on someone born in the 80s staying in the NFL.
This is the quintessential case of would you rather be a superstar for like 1 or 2 years in a sport or have a journeyman career where you're lasting 15, 16 years?
2008.
Yeah, we're talking 17 years in the game now.
2008. Ian, when were you born?
2002.
That's disgusting. That's not long after Ian was born.
Who's the better all-time bag getter? Is it Kirk Cousins getting a lot
Kirk,
for a
yes, absolutely Kirk Cousins.
Definitely.
This is more
this
of
is
like
league minimum every year.
This is all-time
Practice
bag getter
squad.
and like a just kind of keep at it.
Just
like
showing
keep
up to
yourself
the
in shape,
factory,
keep
yep.
yourself clearly
Yeah.
like good networking, good relationships, like just kind of staying there. Kirk Cousins all-time bag getter in some.
Josh Johnson has been around so long. He played for Jim Harbaugh at the University of San Diego. That was pre-Stanford days of Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, I love it.
I love it
so
too.
much. At what point should the Mariners consider dipping into their farm system? Talking about that next.
When you're on the pitch clock and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcast on demand. How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought? Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
Dan Wilson's the new skipper.
This is a window. This is a time where we can get it done, and that's the hope. That's the vision for this club.
Find us on SeattleSports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
Holy smokes!
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Mariners.
Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. What dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? You're getting good at this. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer a free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all their new Fords. How about this one? Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit back to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given back over $750,000 to customers who have sold them their cars. Finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for 103 years? You guessed it. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
Little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through April 21st, New customers can get started with 150 megabit internet and security edge for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying internet package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Early termination fee applies.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of their National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through April 20th. Stop by any of their participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. That's drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Hey there, I'm Jack.
And I'm Stag.
We're just two deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks. You know, like us.
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news and stats to placing bets in just a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code JOEQ to get started today. That's JOEQ, Joe Q. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Mariners have had some early injuries and now have some questions that none of us were really hoping for, which is, what do you do to add to this infield? Already, it's April 11th, and we're wondering how to continue to add some bats to this team. Adam Jude has a new column in the Seattle Times looking at the Mariners' options to fortify a depleted infield. If we were heading into June, we'd be looking at a trade deadline kind of thing. What are some teams struggling? But Curtis, I wonder, as have many people on the Mac and Jack's text line who have asked questions about this, whether they should consider dipping into the farm system. I'm going to start with this question. My understanding of the farm system was maybe we see Cole Young this year, but otherwise there's a bit of a gap between the guys that are going to be playing, even in Tacoma, and Everett is kind of where all the exciting talent is too, and what we're going to see in the big leagues. I wasn't anticipating to see almost anyone this year. What do you think?
I wasn't either, but that was also before you had a couple of massive injuries hit your starting 9. And all of a sudden, especially at this point of the year when the trade market is none, there is no trade market at all to speak of because every team has really no idea what they can be this season. I mean, you're maybe starting to get a decent idea of your team's potential this year, but still, it is so early in terms of a trade market developing. Like, even the White Sox and Marlins, the 2 teams, and the Rockies, the 3 teams that everybody's kind of pinpointed and said they're going to be sellers. I mean, even then, they're not really entertaining trade offers at this point in the year. So how do you improve this roster, especially given the holes now showing up without Ryan Bliss and without Victor Robles in your lineup, two guys you lost this week? Do you look to the minor leagues to fill that out? I don't know if there's anybody I would feel super duper comfortable promoting at this point, but if you, Jerry Dipoto, if you, Justin Hollander, feel as though Cole Young is your best second baseman in your organization at this point, then what is he doing in the minor leagues? Don't you want the best up at the big league level? Now, to start his AAA career, Cole Young has not gotten off to a very fast start. I think he's hitting, $171, something like that.
A double, triple, 6 walks, 7 strikeouts.
Right. So, maybe it's just a case of bad luck to start the year, but you never want to rush a prospect because then you're potentially playing with their confidence a little bit. Yeah. If they're struggling in AAA, I don't think that is going to be something they shake at the big league level where the pitching is even better, the ballparks are harder to hit in. Like the Pacific Coast League is tailored towards offense. It is a hitter's paradise in every single ballpark. That even includes Cheney Stadium. I think right now, the only other guy that I could see as a potential option is Tyler Locklear.
I was going to ask about Ben Williamson.
Ben Williamson's one too, but again, his bat, he has never really shown himself to be a power hitter. He's a great defensive player, probably your best fielding infielder maybe in your organization at this point. And considering the problems that Jorge Polanco has had, A, in staying healthy, and B, maybe not playing the best third base to start, maybe that is a spot where you kind of look at and say, hey, maybe Ben Williamson is an answer here. I know Fangraphs is really high on Ben Williamson's potential this year. I think they had him as a potential 2-win player at the major league level this year, which I don't know about that because you're going to have to hit at least a little bit, but at a premium defensive position at third base, you want a great fielder there, and I imagine Perry Hill wouldn't mind getting to work with Ben Williamson on a daily basis. But I think of those three, of the likeliest to be up right now, boy, I just don't see it out of any of them. Locklear. But yeah, I think we saw Locklear a little bit last year, had a couple of home runs. But again, he's a first base DH type. He's not going to be playing in the outfield, I don't think.
Is it likelier that we see one of these guys sooner than expected, or that the Mariners make kind of a boring trade for a veteran?
I think we might see Cole Young a little bit sooner than expected, even though he's off to the slow start. I think they'll give him some time to get his legs underneath him at the AAA level, but I wouldn't say we see him in the next few days or anything, but maybe in the month of May. I think it's a possibility, especially with Ryan Bliss being down. You need help in your middle infield.
Yeah.
And Cole Young has the highest upside of those three guys. I don't think there's any question about that. Like, Cole Young can be a pretty good player at the big league level. Do I think he's destined for stardom the way, other guys in this system right now, like a Colt Emerson, is? Maybe not, but I think Cole Young can definitely be a pretty good big league player. Maybe somebody that you put at the top of your lineup, a guy who's got the potential to hit for, a 270, 280 average.
Are the Mariners finding themselves in a situation that's like a self-made issue, or is this just sincerely bad luck? With Jorge Polanco has an oblique issue, you'd moved him to third. You had a couple options fighting for it at first, but they kind of underwhelmed. And you need to use one of them in the outfield a little more. Like it seems like, even though we complain plenty about roster construction, this is a bit of a snake-bitten situation. Yeah, you can't plan for having two injuries like this in the same week. Yeah, it was like 4 days apart, 3 days apart when these two injuries happened. There's nothing you can do to plan for something like that. But what you can plan for is just having the depth to make up for anything like that. I think you have to go into a season making sure that every position, like if there's something bad that happens here, you have an option you can turn to. And while it may not be as good as the original starting option, it's one that you can at least
hold your head up about, not kind of plug your ears and close your eyes and be like, oh, I hope this works.
What do you think they do in the interim? Do you think that what we see mostly is like going to try to see how comfortable Polanco is at third? Maybe
Mastrobuoni's going to get some time.
Maybe some wasted spots in a lineup just to get someone, defensively. Like, what do you think we might see in the interim?
It's good to have the versatility of Dylan Moore. I don't think we see Dylan Moore play outfield much. I think Luke Raley probably plays right field more than anybody on this roster going forward, which means at first base, Rowdy Tellez is going to be playing a lot more. Maybe Donovan Solano, although Solano has not done anything to start this season. But you're just looking at guys right now in your 26-man roster. My ideal with the guys that you have up right now, it's Raley and right. It's probably Tellez at first at this point, and then probably at second base we'll go with Dylan Moore. Third base.
Question mark.
Well,
I've seen people saying,
or maybe put Dylan Moore at third.
Well, I saw a couple of people saying, why not move Polanco to second? And I'm like, is that still a really athletic?
Right.
I mean, we'll ask Shannon a couple of these questions too. And if you guys have more questions about what about this or how's this guy, get those sent in. Shannon's joining us in just a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
We got Charlie Furbush in studio with us.
Logan Gilbert is like my spirit animal. How he pitches, how he attacks hitters, and right there behind him is Bryce Miller. I mean, when you look at an actual pitch, they both have this splitter now that is just incredibly effective. I was always jealous of guys that could throw that pitch because it really acts like a fastball a lot of ways, and then it comes in and drops off the table.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Music that moves your soul. Live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, April 24th. Get tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity. So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and 1 unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus 1 unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus 1 unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it. Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and student loan interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Drew Lock is back in Seattle from Tom Pelissero. Lock and the Seahawks have agreed to terms on a new deal, bringing the former Bronco back for a second stint. The Mariners are back in action after an off day. They're going to open a series against the Rangers at 6:40 p.m. Bryce Miller on the mound.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Mariners insider Shannon Drayer in studio with us. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus, ready to get to what feels like a Mariners roundtable. We were just talking about some potential options for this team, given some of the depth concerns at the infield, and that's where I'm going to start with you, Shannon, because we have a lot of questions from listeners. So I'll start with one of the more common questions, which is between second and third, is there a chance you move Polanco from third to second and maybe more to third? What kind of shuffling could you anticipate?
Do I need to get a glove?
Do I need to get out there?
Does Stacy need to get a glove?
I'm afraid I've never caught a baseball.
Let's not get crazy here yet. We're not quite there. You might be able to assist Mike Salk on his first pitch, but we're not going to take you to the big league field yet.
Yeah, I'm so good for him. I was thinking about it. I heard him talking.
I'm most excited to see the video.
I can't wait to see it, but I also think I can't even talk because I was hearing him talk about it this morning, and I thought I don't think I could get it to home plate.
Would your knees be buckling on the mound?
I think I'd do the 50 Cent, like I just go and then it hits the ground, like Carly Rae Jepsen style. Shannon, I asked you a more
I would just say
question.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an easy answer. No, not doing it.
I want to try it, but not in front of 40,000 people. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then, I mean, it can all change if there are people in the stands. So,
yeah.
We'll take you out on a little league field. We'll figure this out.
Okay. Well, when's Salk doing this?
Tonight, I think.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was this weekend. Oh, that's so fun. Okay. Well, good luck, Mike. And let's get to some infield shuffling. Shannon, what do you anticipate?
How much longer can I stall on this one? I don't anticipate because there are so many options, and today's going to be a day of questions. You know, they had the off day yesterday, and I imagine a lot of thought and work was put into what are they going to do. And we talked about it on our roundtable on the pregame show the other day and kind of came to the consensus that the offense is going to have to be the priority on that. Well, I'm not 100% sold on that, but I think that's what we came to. I would like to see something set
So, keep the best
defensively.
bats.
Go with a hot hand.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, obviously Jorge Polanco is your number one priority.
Yeah.
We don't know how much of Jorge Polanco they have right now. I think they have half of a Jorge Polanco, as he has the side injury, and that is why we saw him pinch hit for on Wednesday. So I think that was kind of the giveaway right there. But as long as he can go, he needs to be in that lineup. Does it hurt him to play third base? We don't know. If that might be the DH spot. I don't think that they are wholesale giving up at all on Jorge Polanco at third base yet. I do think that they think that they can get him to where he needs to be. Unfortunately, it wasn't at the start of the season. They're still working on some things. He's still basically kind of stretching out the arm. He's doing some long toss exercises to try and get a little bit more on the throw from third base. So I think that is a possibility. I like that Luis Rivas is up. But it all starts with Polanco, because depending on what you do at third base, if you can get him back to third base, then you can platoon Dylan Moore in right field with Luke Raley. And I think, okay, there's a solid spot right there. Luis Rivas can handle shortstop if anything comes up there. You know that. Solano can take a day or two over at third base. Second base we're not mentioning yet. Rivas can play over there as well. So I think that they have all the pieces. How they do it and how they do it on a day-to-day basis kind of remains to be seen.
Do you expect them to dip into what they have in Tacoma at any point? I know they have some good prospects down there. Cole Young, kind of the one that comes to most people's minds in Tacoma, but also Ben Williamson is there. Do you expect to see any of those guys maybe in the coming weeks, simply because of just how much attrition this roster has had in the season's first couple of weeks?
No, I think they'll be the priority, particularly with Cole Young. You want these guys coming up, especially your higher round picks, the guys that you have been touting for a long time. You don't want them to come up and struggle or fail. And you don't want them to have to be sent back. Most do have to go back, but if it is that high profile and that you've got that much riding on that, this could be your future second baseman here. You're going to bring him up at the right time with Cole Young. Ben Williamson, that might be a little bit of a different story right there, but he's got to be confident in what he's doing, and they've got to have some level of confidence in their offense, even if you're bringing them up to be defense first. And Ben Williamson, could come up tomorrow and win a Gold Glove at third base. That's probably a little bit of a stretch, but, he can be that good from what the scouts are saying, and we certainly saw evidence of that in spring training. But if he's not hitting, that's going to affect his fielding as well. So they want to be careful with these guys. I don't think anybody is going to be rushed, and certainly not at this point of the season, because of what's going on right now. You still give them time. You still have time to give them time, which I'm sure nobody wants to hear right now, but it's kind of the reality of the situation. So I don't think that we see them right away. I think we see them when they're ready. Does that speed up a little bit? Maybe you need a couple of games less than you would need, yes, but I don't think either are there right now, so I don't think that would be an option.
What would be, let's say we weren't talking about all these injuries and there was no reason to immediately talk about calling up these guys. When would your expected debut be? What would be a typical timeline we'd be talking about with Cole Young, who's only 21?
Yeah, I think that you were hoping, there was some talk that he could compete in spring training. I'm not quite sure. There's not much more he needs to do in AAA other than kind of get on a hot streak and be ready to go.
Yeah.
He's hitting the ball hard. He's got a good idea of what the strike zone is. Defensively, you're good with that. So I think that they want him in a good place before they bring him up. And I think they were thinking it was going to be longer because Ryan Bliss won that job outright in spring training.
Yeah.
So I think that for him, it was going to be probably more mid-season if opportunity came up for him. And Williamson, it's just so much harder to tell with him because it's different. He isn't somebody that was very much on the radar. He's even younger in baseball or younger in professional baseball than Cole Young is. So I think that he's still I think there are a lot of options that you would try before that because he needs further development.
Shannon, this team in the rotation, we're still waiting to see what George Kirby's timeline is going to be for his return. In the meantime, that fifth spot has gone from Emerson Hancock to Luis F. Castillo, I should say, who got two spot starts. But then now Castillo optioned yesterday to Tacoma, leaving a lot of question marks as to what that is going to be. Just kind of doing the math, reading the schedule. I mean, who does it line up with? Like, what do the Mariners have in place for that spot? Because right now everybody's kind of throwing up options, and it's like, maybe. I don't know. Who gets that spot?
Well, you pointed out that Casey Lawrence is still on the roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, I've been tied up in me. I just want to make sure because things change quickly with this team.
I saw him there on Wednesday.
Okay, Casey Legamina's up too. I did see that, but I want to make sure there was nothing else.
Got a lot of Caseys.
Yeah. A lot of Caseys. Well, there you go. That might be a problem. Too many guys. I don't know. And we saw this with Luis F. Castillo, that when he was still on the roster the next day, he was making that next start. Maybe it's Casey Lawrence. I think there is the option that with the off days that they have right now, they'd be on regular rest next week in Cincinnati if you did push Bryce Miller up a day. And then I believe the next day is when Emerson Hancock would be eligible to come back. Bryan Woo is still kind of the one that I think they want to protect a little bit. So then you could push Bryan Woo to the first game in Toronto. So they have a lot of different things that they can do there. Logan Evans, you were asking, maybe. But I think that when you bring him up, you probably want more than a spot start, and I think you're kind of looking at a spot start right now.
Yeah. I have to ask about Julio every time we interview any analyst and reporter because obviously he's the most important part of this offense. One question that's been particularly interesting to me is how different reporters are tracking his success, right? Some people are looking at chase rate. Other people are looking at just general stats like, hitting home runs early, maybe some power. Is there something in particular with Julio that you're kind of tracking yourself as we go through April?
The at-bats.
Yeah.
You don't want to see him kind of be the classic swinging wildly, chasing every slider type Julio. And we're not seeing that as much. He hasn't had the success. The batting average isn't there. But, when you look at Wednesday, when he was down 0-2 in a count, and he had at-bats where he didn't see a strike yet. He swung at everything and struck out in that game. It was like you saw him start to kind of, what are you doing there? And we've seen very good at-bats from him at times. And then you've seen a little bit of that, I got to swing, kind of crop up on you. But to see him in that situation, a pressure situation in particular, late in the game, and to stay with it and to go the other way with it and not try and do too much, that was huge. That's what you want him to take and roll over, especially in that situation. And to see him make that adjustment within the game against a very good reliever on the other side, I'm hopeful for that. But you just have to see more of those at-bats.
A quick follow-up with the Julio one. You mentioned liking what you're seeing in terms of changing. And I've always wondered, when it comes to, and we'll never know, but when it comes to Julio's at-bats, the bad ones, we've talked about it collectively as hosts as though it's like, there's a lot of pressure on you, maybe there's pressure to perform. But do you think there's also some other stuff, like maybe he only likes a certain pitch, or what do you think has been his issue with bad plate decisions typically? I know we don't know, but what do you kind of, when you and, other reporters are kind of like, I think it's this, what do you typically settle on?
Well, expanding the strike zone has been, thinking that you can hit absolutely everything at times, I think has been kind of the biggest thing with him. And, you want to be there for the fastball, but if you are expanding that much, you're not giving yourself as much of a chance. And then he loses that. We've seen him last year. There were many times when we saw him, fastball down the middle, and he just wasn't in position to get it because where he put himself in the at-bat. We saw, I think, might have been game 1 against the Astros, Jorge Polanco, and it was another late game situation, came up with the big hit in just being able to square up a pitch that was a mistake, a breaking ball in the middle of the plate, and it was the same exact pitch that Julio missed right ahead of him. And that's kind of, you couldn't have seen it more day and night. And a lot of the times when you see that, it's because you're not ready for it because of how you've set it up at that point.
The bullpen has been used a lot this season, especially in these games that have gone into extras. Shannon, I want to know, what does your ideal bridge to Andres Munoz look like right now? Because it kind of feels like Dan Wilson's still kind of feeling everybody out. I've really liked what I've seen from Gabe Spire to start the season, but, I mean, he's a lefty. Maybe you want to just keep him against lefties for the most part. What do you think is the best route to get the ball to Andres Munoz at this point?
I love Gabe Spire in leverage situations, but it's not so much that you just want him facing the lefties because he's left-handed. It's because he's the guy that's going to get the lefties, and you might have to save him for that. He's, I feel fine putting him in against left and right, but he might be the best person for the lefties, so that has to be taken into consideration. Gregory Santos.
The big fella.
The big fella. Do you know that he's the only reliever in baseball with 5 innings or more pitched without a strikeout so far this season?
I didn't know that.
That's wild.
That is wild, but he also has a great ground ball rate, so he's going to put it in play. I'd like a strikeout. Let's mix in a strikeout here and there. And, of course, the issue is that sometimes, you do see the wild pitch. You do see the walk. And so for me, and they started this at the beginning of the season, let's not put him into the highest leverage situation. Then they put him into the leverage situation, and we're starting to see a little bit of that wild. I'd like to see him backed up a little bit, get comfortable, and then try again.
Why has he been going in the leverage? Was it usage that we've seen him in some high leverage situations?
He's got good stuff. He's got good stuff, and I think this
you
is
just prefer,
they want him to be there, but I think that it's definitely hang on, and it's also the ground ball potential. That's huge. That's huge. But you need strikeout stuff if you're going to be there. There are times when you have to get the strikeout, and he will. He's gotten strikeouts before. I'm really happy with what I've seen from Bizzardo. And, you talk about the bridge, and where I thought the real problem was going to be was how do you get it from 6 to 7 and 7 to 8? And Bizzardo has come in. He's 3 for 3, or I believe 4 for 4 now, stranding inherited runners, which is one of the biggest stats for me with relievers. 6 for 6 first batters faced. I mean, he's coming in and he's putting fires out now, which is great. Gave up some runs early, but he's been pretty nails since then, knock on wood. Carlos Vargas, out of nowhere. This is a guy who's had extreme command issues. Great stuff, bad command. He's getting the grounders, too. I like that he's stepped up. So I actually feel better about that than I did coming in. Yeah. And then I think Troy Taylor, will find out today if he's ready. He threw a rehab outing last night. Gave up a home run, but it was a crazy game. So we'll see where that is. But there was the thought that he might be ready to come back after. That was his 3rd rehab outing. And then Matt Brash in a few weeks. They're getting closer.
Are you watching the Bald Eagle Cam still? I saw an ad for it on YouTube the other day. I was like, my algorithm feels very Shannon right now.
Which one?
Yeah, exactly. Look, I got a lot of Bald Eagle Cams going. We got the
Lots
Eaglets.
to keep track of here.
Yeah. She is Mariners insider Shannon Drayer. Anything coming up on the site soon that we should keep an eye out for? Otherwise, I just always tell people to check regularly. Very regular content there, seattlesports.com.
Not so much writing, but kind of more on the video side. We, of course, have the Cal
reviews.
Check that out.
Oh, thank you.
It's on YouTube.
They're so good.
Yeah, you want me to get creative? I'll take some suggestions. We're going on the road now. We're taking it on the road. So it's like it'll be a little tougher because I'm going to have to film it, but there will be a walk in Fenway Park. We will be going out to the Green Monster, walk and talk.
Nice.
Cincinnati, I'm not sure what we'll do, but yeah. So
you are doing amazing work with that one. If you guys haven't checked it out, there was a fresh episode yesterday. You can hear it on, there's a Cal Raleigh show link. And then
you've done
also
one
the
in the
Wyman and Bob
seats.
pod.
You've done one in the dugout. Where next?
Beer garden.
It's not as easy as you would think it would, but if we can time it, you know what I really want to do? Walk in from the bullpen.
Ooh,
I always wonder what that walk is like for the starting pitcher when they're coming across.
You should have them turn on the sound effects and lights for you.
The Andres Munoz entrance.
Okay, I
want my own. No, the Shannon Drayer entrance. Never mind Cal Raleigh and Andres Munoz. If we're doing that, I'm on that.
All right, so check out the Cal Raleigh show. It's hosted by Shannon. Great work by Shannon. Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Stacy, first down to you, something you talked about with Salk this morning. What does a home run first 2 days of the draft look like to you?
A little similar to what Matt Miller had, though I went with a different player, at 18. I didn't go with a wide receiver. A home run for me, when Mike and I come in here on Saturday morning and we're looking back at rounds 1 and 2, is that the offensive line has been addressed by at least one of those second-round picks. and that there's a player that was maybe a bit of a surprise but was chosen for a ton of athletic upside that I can be intrigued with. For instance, I'm not saying that they should do this, but like Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina, safety at 18, that kind of pick makes me go, well, what did they see? They took Devin Witherspoon. That was a surprise, and that worked out. You know what I mean? I get very intrigued by the crazy athlete that we just could not deny. Because when you take a player at a position that's not necessarily one of need, it's with Mike McDonald's defense, you think they see this guy as a key to what they're doing. So if there's a player that I'm like, this is an identity pick, I'm interested in this one. I'm intrigued by that kind of coupling. Offensive line and like an identity pick.
I like it. Second down. Stacy, who is a superstar NFL player that might not be happy with their current situation?
You know I love juicy NFL gossip.
Yeah, you do.
This from Tom Pelissero, speculating on things between TJ Watt and the Steelers.
This is not with any firm knowledge background, but one, he's in a contract here, plainly due for an upgrade, doesn't have it yet. Two, I would fairly tell you TJ Watt probably is getting a little sick of waiting on the quarterback question as well. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you want to play here or do you not? Cam Hayward, who then proceeded to try to walk that back several times when he said, hey, you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't? I don't need to make more of a pitch than that. Yep. That opinion, from everything I've been told, is not solely to Cam Hayward. There are other people, certainly in the organization, in the locker room, who are just going like, what are we doing? We're back for off-season workouts in 10 days. Mm-hmm. We're coming up on the draft. What is the plan?
Now, I don't think that there's a path where like TJ Watt becomes a Seahawk. I do think it's very interesting that there's a potential path where TJ Watt and the Steelers are having issues. I mean, this guy was central and has been central to their success. He's been one of the best defensive players in the league, former defensive player of the year. That defense willed them to the playoffs. And it's just an interesting issue that they're dealing with. So again, I know naturally we all go like, oh, could Micah Parsons be a Seahawk? Could so-and-so be a Seahawk once we see contract issues? And sometimes it happens, right?
Right.
Dwayne Brown was having contract issues with the Texans.
Jamal Adams.
Exactly. Yeah. And the Seahawks were all over both of those players, both in midseason trades. Or excuse me, Jamal, a regular offseason trade, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think it's something to kind of keep an eye on out of NFL curiosity and just kind of to see what develops there, because they don't even have a quarterback. Their outlook as a team.
They brought back Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
That's how bad things got.
Their outlook as a team changes without him.
Gosh, third down. Stacey, we've once again seen an interesting position mocked to Seattle. Who and what is it?
Once again, we have seen a tight end mocked to Seattle. Loveland's been mocked a couple times. Sports Illustrated has a new mock they just released that has Loveland there again. It is not a name we haven't talked about. It is not a position we haven't talked about. But I find it interesting that there have now been, I've seen like 4-ish mocks that have had a tight end going. This is a class with some good tight end talent. We could see like 2 at least, well, 2 probably, go in the first round. I see tight end typically like I would guard, like certain positions where I'm always a little surprised when they're drafted early. Sometimes it doesn't work out, right? We all know Kyle Pitts at 4 didn't necessarily work out, even though he's crazy athletic. Noah Fant was a first-round pick, didn't necessarily work out for Denver. So I understand people typically going, oof, wait a minute, maybe don't do that. But tight end usage has been a very under-the-radar issue for the Seahawks for a long time. It hasn't necessarily cost them. They've had solid offenses while not getting much from tight ends. They have had a solid run game before, back in 2018, without getting too much from tight ends. But when your last really productive tight end was one Jimmy Graham, who did nothing wrong. And no tight end has touched his touchdown total or total yardage like in franchise history, you're not getting a ton from them. So I'd be curious to know if they take a swing and and do get a surprising pick at 18, which for me would be a tight end, right? A wide receiver, like a skill position player, that would be a surprising pick for me. But it's one of those intriguing ones I talked about earlier where you go, what does John Schneider see? And now I want to know what he sees. So something to keep an eye on.
4th down. Stacy, what feels most fascinating and most unfair about a Seahawks-Raiders comparison?
So I was on Hawk Blogger live podcast, and they were asked this question about like who's going to finish with more wins. It's one I've seen before, right? Of course, you're going to be kind of comparing Geno's time in Seattle with his time with the Raiders. And I'll say this. I think the Seahawks finished with more wins than the Raiders. I think that the Seahawks, I understand, benefited from having Geno. But they're still a team that really improved defensively. Mike McDonald had a stellar first year. They've typically been a competitive, if disappointing team, a competitive team. And I feel like expecting them to completely fall off is maybe a little premature, maybe a little doomsday. It could absolutely happen, but these like very, very sudden swings with win-loss records aren't especially common. Usually you have a gradual increase or a gradual decline. It's a reason why we kind of remember like worst to first stories. Like they're not especially common. So a team like the Raiders, if they were to get 9 wins, that's more than doubling their total from this past season. Now, what's interesting is how much of Seattle's success last year was Geno making things happen and how much of it was Mike McDonald getting the defense together. I'm interested to watch as we move forward. Let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
The Mariners are back on tonight, opening a series against the Rangers. First pitch at 6:40 p.m. Bryce Miller on the mound. Pregame show at 5:30 right here on Seattle Sports. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know coming up at 45 after 866-979-3776.
Now that's how you walk that talk, am I right?
3-2 on the way, and it's high and inside. A bases loaded walk-off walk.
The Mariners pull out their best win of the season.
You just need those guys to be who you expect them to be.
Those ran a monster game.
It is grand salami time.
Is it the spark the M's needed? Find out tonight with a first of 3 against the Rangers. First pitch at 6:40. Pregame at 5:30 after Wyman and Bob on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, and the app.
The American Band, the legendary Grand Funk Railroad, is rolling into Muckleshoot Event Center Wednesday, August 6th with special guest Jefferson Starship. Don't miss this night of classic rock that defined a generation. Get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. Grand Funk Railroad with special guest Jefferson Starship. Only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and 1 unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus 1 unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus 1 unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Here it comes, the second huge online equipment auction of the year. Produced by the James G. Murphy Company. Bidding is underway now and closes at 10 a.m. Wednesday the 17th. Over 800 items are on the block, including heavy equipment, trucks, and logging gear, including a 2016 Link Belt 210 XT TLN log loader, a 2014 CAT 320 DFM log loader, and a 2014 Komatsu 931.1 forwarder. If you're looking for construction equipment, we got 16 excavators, 5 wheel loaders, 4 backhoes, and 2 pavers. Plus, there's a great selection of 12 late model dump trucks, including 5 Peterbilt 367s from model year 2013 to 2020. Check out all this gear in person during inspection days, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday the 15th and Wednesday, April 16th at our Marysville location. Bidding is underway now. For pictures and all details, check out murphyauction.com. That's murphyauction.com. murphyauction.com.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus today. And Curtis, we got some breaking news this afternoon. The Seahawks are bringing Drew Lock back. Tom Pelissero reporting that news. ESPN's Adam Schefter adding on contract details. 2 years, $5 million.
2 years, huh?
2 years, $5 million.
For a backup?
I want to talk about a couple of things here.
Let's do it.
I want to go over like what it tells us, whether we still think the Seahawks are drafting a quarterback, whether in hindsight trading for Sam Howell was worth it. But I want to start by the question that interests me most, which is this kind of confirmation in any way that Drew Lock was John's guy and maybe Geno was Pete's?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. This is confirmation that there existed in the 2023 locker room Pete Carroll guys and John Schneider guys. And I wonder if there may have been something to that, causing a bit of a split between front office and coaching staff, which is weird because Pete Carroll was still technically a member of the front office, but also the head coach and had final say on every roster decision. But you look at where the Seahawks are in 2025 compared to where they were the last time Drew Lock was on this roster, which was at the end of the 2023 season. That was Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator. This is 2 offenses removed from the last time Drew Lock was here. It's not like Drew Lock has experience in a Clint Kubiak offense, right? Yeah. This is simply a vibes move. This is John Schneider bringing in somebody that he is comfortable with in Drew Lock to this quarterback room because, I mean, there's, no one outside of Clint Kubiak and, Kubiak's assistants has ever worked with Sam Darnold here before. McDonald has not worked with Drew Lock before. No, he hasn't. It was Sam Howell was his backup in year one. That was Pete Carroll, the last head coach that Drew Lock had here in Seattle. So there's very little familiarity with Drew Lock from the coaching staff, but the front office is very familiar with him.
Well, and the front office might have some unanswered questions. I don't think Drew Lock is coming in to challenge Darnold per se. I think he's coming in to fight for that backup spot. To add,
do we think it's even a fight, though? Because he was given a 2-year deal.
I do not think it's a fight. I think that the fact that Geno could throw how many interceptions, and at no point did this team go, let's see what Sam's got. No.
Yeah.
Geno and Sam were not close, and I would imagine.
I think Drew Lock and Sam are particularly close.
I would imagine
either.
the void is less fast, but still very clear to the front office. I wonder if there's just a lingering curiosity that John has, because when it was pitched as who's going to be the starter post Russell Wilson, so this is before Geno's comeback season of the year, it was for reporters and anyone going to OTAs and later training camp immediately obvious that it was Geno's job to lose because reps were not split.
No, it was Geno with the ones, Drew with the twos.
I would go on like a national, let's say I went on a national show, just any show unconnected to Seattle. They typically assumed it was Drew Lock. Like most questions I got were about how do you feel about Drew Lock in Seattle? What do you think's going to happen here? And
right, because he was the guy that the Seahawks made sure was part of the Russell Wilson trade.
And it was interesting because what we were seeing here, even though no starter had been named, was Geno's getting first team reps. Geno was going through as the starter. Drew was not getting much of a chance here.
Yeah.
Granted, Geno went out and had a great year. Not like all-pro numbers by any means, but he surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
And for whatever you think about Geno right now, there were Geno chants at that win over the Broncos on Monday night. I heard in training camp that year from someone who would know that maybe there was some, not frustration that Drew wasn't getting more time, but kind of like John would love to see more of Drew, and Pete clearly loves Geno. Like I heard then that like it's not that John doesn't like Geno or that Pete doesn't like Drew, but that there was an interest John had in seeing more from Drew that the coaching staff was not willing to give.
Well, and I think maybe if there's any question, or I wondered though if people are kind of like, well, they let Drew Lock walk after last year. Like, how can you definitively say that, that's somebody that John Schneider was pounding the table for? And it's like, well, Drew Lock went to the Giants because there was a much better opportunity for him to start in New York than there was here in Seattle because the Seahawks had just extended Geno Smith. Like he was going to be the assumed starter for as long as he's going to be in a Seahawks uniform. So Drew Lock saw that and was probably like, well, I still think I'm worthy of being in that conversation as a starting quarterback. And he did end up getting a couple of starts last year for the Giants. So, but now coming in here as the backup, I think it's definitely got John Schneider's hands all over this.
Well, and look, the most intriguing thing to me, to be completely blunt, is not whether or not Drew can come in and suddenly look great and they can find untapped talent that they didn't get to see last time because it was just Geno's job. It's me wondering how many other guys have kind of been guys that John liked and wanted to see more of, like hypothetical, okay?
Right.
What if, I don't know that this is true, what if John, with that deal for Jimmy Graham, who we just talked about in our last segment, so let's bring it back, was like, I would love to see him used differently. And Pete's offense did not utilize Jimmy Graham the way John wanted to. Let's say that that's something.
I think that
You
could be an instance of a divide between the two.
When you have a coach and a GM that have near equal power, there probably have been, and there's a ton of respect they have for each other. They really did seem like they had a good relationship. But I just wonder how many guys over the course of the 14 years these two had together were John guys, how many were Pete guys, how many were guys that John brought here that maybe weren't used the way that John would have liked to see them used. It's fascinating.
On the opposite side, I wonder if Pete was the one really pushing for a Jamal Adams trade, because we know how much he loves safety play.
I would think that, except that John can be really aggressive as a GM. So that
was
also be a
one
move
of those,
I could see.
That was one of those moves where everybody kind of felt the Seahawks were a talented defensive back away from being a really good team. They ended up winning 12 games that year, but it blew up in their face at the very end. To another question we have in this segment, will the Seahawks draft a quarterback still? I don't see it happening. Unless they move on from Sam Howell before the draft, but I think these are probably your three quarterbacks that you go into your offseason activities with, and maybe these are the three that you go into training camp with, and you've got Sam Howell and Drew Lock fighting for that backup spot, and I think Drew Lock has a leg up on Howell here.
In hindsight, Sam Howell trade a mistake, worth having a shot? What do you make of it now, knowing that I think both of us are assuming without saying it that Sam Howell is going to lose that job to Drew?
I think...
We could be completely wrong.
Right. Considering what Howell was a former starting quarterback in the league and was still really young at the time of the trade. I think he was, 23, 24 years old. I mean, he was younger than most of the quarterbacks in last year's draft class. So he was younger than Penix. He was younger than Bo Nix. I think
younger
he was
younger than D. Eskridge when he was a rookie.
Yeah.
Something I'll never forget.
He was young. I think he might have been younger than Jaden Daniels too, if I'm not mistaken. And so you saw the youth and you saw the previous starting experience, and everybody's kind of like, oh, maybe this is the future post Geno. And it didn't even come close to that. And I think we all saw it on display in that Packers game where Geno gets hurt. He misses the rest of that game. And as soon as Geno went down, you knew that game was over. It was not even a contest after that. And, I mean, Sam Howell was a deer in the headlights. He had no business being on that field that night, and it was a wrap. I mean, I think it's disappointing to see what the Sam Howell trade became, where it was just like, oh, this guy just – I don't know if he's going to have it somewhere else, but he did not have it here.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Coming your way next.
Now that's how you walk that talk, am I right?
3-2 on the way, and it's high and inside. A bases loaded walk-off walk.
The Mariners pull out their best win of the season.
You just need those guys to be who you expect them to be.
Rosa ran a monster game.
It is grand salami time.
Is it the spark the M's needed? Find out tonight with a first of 3 against the Rangers. First pitch at 6:40. Pregame at 5:30 after Wyman and Bob on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, and the app.
Looking for the perfect engagement ring? At Shane Company, we know this is an exciting time. It can also be overwhelming. Customers say this a lot. Where do I start? How do I choose? At Shane Company, this is where the magic happens. Since 1929, we've been experts at helping customers find the perfect engagement ring. We invite you into the design process, help you pick out the perfect diamond or colorful gemstone, and choose a style that speaks to you. Come see us in store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Goodbye, winter mud. Hello, Dream Yard. Spring is here. Synthetic Turf Northwest has you covered. No more soggy lawns or weekend yard work. Just green, clean, and ready for backyard barbecues, wiffle ball, or kicking back. Synthetic Turf Northwest, the area leader in synthetic grass, residential and commercial installs, plus turf supplies out of our Woodinville warehouse, and soon in Fife, right off I-5. Mention Seattle Sports and save up to $1,000 off your project. Visit syntheticturfnorthwest.com today.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through April 21st, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet and security edge for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying internet package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Early termination fee applies.
My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, and I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after I turned 40, things started feeling different. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and I just wasn't interested in sex anymore. My wife told me her friend's husband went through the same thing, and it turns out he had low testosterone. So we booked a free T-check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that my testosterone levels were low too. We worked with a provider to create a custom treatment plan, and today, my wife and I are having more fun than we did on our honeymoon. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
From groceries to home prices, the cost of living in Washington state keeps going up. Now, Olympia politicians are proposing the largest tax increases in state history. Don't be fooled. If taxes go up, we'll all pay even more. Washington needs lower costs, not higher taxes. Tell the politicians no by visiting www.affordablewashington.org. Paid for by the people for an affordable Washington. Top 5 contributors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Amazon.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Bob Stelton here for Asset Roofing, and they have got the perfect slogan. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset, and I witnessed this firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and again when I had him do work on my roof. Now this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing because you're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Hey, it's me, second base at T-Mobile Park. In my view, it's pretty sweet. I can see the big dumper flashing his platinum glove, firing a perfect throw right at me. Here comes the tag. Oh, got him.
Another strike him out, throw him out for Cal Raleigh.
Then there's Julio, stomping on me on his way to a stand-up triple. That dude is unreal.
Swinging a line drive, Julio round to third with a 2-out, 3-run triple.
And JP, smooth as silk, snaring line drives out of thin air.
And he takes a hit away!
Come check it out for yourself. There's nothing like being this close to the action. Although I'm still waiting to get invited to the Wind Dance. A base can dream. Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
Check out the Mariners special events this weekend against the Rangers. It all starts tonight at 6:40 with Corduroy Hat Night, presented by Alaska Airlines. Then the fun continues with Salute to Armed Forces camo jerseys tomorrow at 6:40 thanks to Boeing. And Little League Day Andres Munoz posters Sunday at 1:10. Get your tickets at mariners.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus today and Monday. Get your questions into the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. Curtis, the first question is for you.
All right.
We all know Curtis has the sports trivia knowledge that legends only dream of. Don't flatter him. What I need to know, what sport is Curtis stronger in knowledge-wise? And does his trivia skills only apply to sports or history in general?
Baseball is my strongest sport in terms of trivia knowledge.
Yeah.
I think baseball also just has the most trivia.
Who won the World Series in 1983?
83, that would have been I think it's the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, do you know?
My guess was Cardinals.
Oh, okay.
I think it was.
World Series winner.
Are you a big pub trivia guy? Like a Wednesday night dive bar kind of thing?
I can get there, yeah.
Orioles.
Orioles beat the Phillies.
You guys were off. See, that's the stuff I'm talking about. Curtis wasn't alive for 10 years after that.
Yeah, Orioles beat the Phillies. That was Cal Ripken's only
See, that's
World
what I'm
Series
saying. Just
I was never getting that.
Random stuff like that. And he'll be like, yeah,
Cardinals
of course
were 82. Tigers were 84.
You can stop anytime.
85 would have been the Royals. 86 Mets. 87 Twins. 88 Dodgers. 89.
Next question.
The
Into the Mac and Jack's text
90
line.
the Reds.
866-979-3776. 866-979-3776. What I need to know. Okay, this one's an advice one. What I need to know, I need some advice. I have a lifelong friend of mine who got me a 12-man jersey for my birthday. I visit my friend semi-often. My friend is one who doesn't expect for anything or ask for anything in return, but I feel like I should get them something when I visit their new house. What do you think is the best thing to do in this situation?
Maybe don't go over the top. Don't get them something, crazy. Just get them a nice housewarming gift.
Yeah, I was going to say get something for the new house.
What if, maybe they need, maybe you've heard them talking about an appliance that they really want.
Yeah. Or
oh, man, I could really use an air fryer.
Yeah.
I got you,
buddy.
Yeah.
Maybe a new plant. If they like grilling, like it's going to be warm weather, maybe you bring them like grill tools, grill spoons.
Tongs?
Right. That's what it is. You know the grill spoons that clip together?
Yeah, when you're scooping all of your grill stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
the clippy grill spoons.
A 12th man jersey has got to run you what, like $120?
So you don't have to match the price because this sounds like someone they probably don't want to feel like you feel that you need to, but you can show some love.
Right.
Bring them, some drinks to stock up the fridge.
Yeah, get them a nice not just your standard beer. Get them a nice something you get from like
a Bud Light,
Bevmo, or Total, Natty Ice, yeah.
866-979-3776. What I need to know: why are the Seahawks re-signing Drew Lock?
Because John Schneider really likes him. 360. Well, and he's got starting experience. You want to have a backup quarterback that if they're in the game, you feel like they won't tank it for you. And I don't think Drew Lock would ever tank it for the Seahawks. And I think he gives you a fighting chance in every game. Remember, he started that road game against the 49ers too, the week prior to the Eagles game, I want to say.
Yeah, I think backup quarterback is typically one of those things where it's like, okay, well, who cares? He's just coming to back up. But you want to make sure you have your best option there. And so that's still a really, really important battle for the front office between those two. So 866-979-3776. Multiple people saying 12-man flag. Here's the problem with that. Let's say they don't want to hang a 12-man flag.
Right.
But let's just say that they don't like the decor look of it.
Gotta have
or they
space for it.
But then if you give them something that's going to have to be displayed, they're going to feel like they need to display it every time you're there. I'm just saying. That's what I would feel. 866-979-3776. What I need to know. Any fun plans this weekend?
I'm hosting Mariners Pre and Post on Sunday.
Okay.
So I'll be at the ballpark.
Yeah.
Saturday, I think we're going out for a late celebration of my birthday because earlier in the week we celebrated with my folks, and then I was busy doing extra innings. I was busy doing other stuff the rest of the week. So Saturday, we've got time. So we're going out to dinner on Saturday or lunch, depending on how the girls are holding up in the late afternoon portion of the day.
Doing anything, so I'm going to keep it moving.
Yeah.
What I need to know, who's winning in a fight? A gorilla or a tiger? The answer is a gorilla.
Yeah, a gorilla could tear anything apart.
Search how strong is a gorilla. I think a gorilla would win in a fight between almost anything.
Easily.
Like the tiger, obviously, the biggest of the big
Tiger's
cats.
got quickness.
Quickness, strength, jaw strength, really sharp teeth, but gorillas are basically, like when you think of how scary it would be if we created robot armies because they'd be super strong and indestructible, that's a gorilla. Do you know what I'm saying?
When I think of like gorilla, I think of Mighty Joe Young, that Disney movie back in the day.
They were friends.
Right, Charlize Theron. I think it was a remake actually. There was like an older version of Mighty Joe Young, but that's what I think of when I think of a gorilla in this scenario. Just something that's like 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
Ripping the metal bars of its cage.
Okay, so gorillas have a stronger bite force, or around the same bite force as a tiger. They can carry weights exceeding 4,000 pounds.
I think it's
it's
a gorilla.
the gorilla.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that disagrees. Hey, what about a gorilla and a grizzly bear?
I'm still taking gorilla, I think.
What about a really, really big grizzly bear? I don't know. The gorilla has the reach.
Yeah.
You know?
And could pick up a stick or something.
I don't
Opposable thumbs are a huge factor.
Yeah, it's got the smarts too.
I don't know how gorillas fight, but I feel like a gorilla would swing. Like, I feel like it would be a human type fight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they got big old paws.
And I don't think a bear would swing.
Big forearms too.
No. I might be with you.
I don't want to be anywhere near a gorilla. They'll rip your face off.
206 says a tiger win and y'all are crazy. I get your point with the tiger. It's a giant cat. They're incredibly strong.
Sharp teeth.
They can swim, so they're talented with all kinds of things.
425 says grizzly's 3 times as big as a gorilla. There's some big gorillas out there.
Well, no, I am second guessing now. What if I should go grizzly? Have you
509
seen those
says
photos of
grizzly
like the
bears.
grizzly
Look it
bears
up.
that are really like someone
That's
will
true.
catch
They're-
one in the wild and it's like massive and you realize how big they look when you're that close? We'll discuss this off air.
Wade and Shelton is swearing at me because of my pick of a gorilla over a grizzly bear. It's not that serious, Wade.
Wait.
It's a Friday. It's sunny outside.
Wade's like, on behalf of bears.
I don't need
and
your
bear
swears,
culture.
Wade.
All right, you guys. If you missed any part of the show, make sure you go back and check out the Bump and Stacy podcast.
Kiss your
Curtis,
mother
thanks for
right
helping out
now.
today.
Jeez.
Okay, listen. Let you and Wade need to separate. Wyman and Bob coming up next.
Now that's how you walk that talk, am I right?
3-2 on the way, and it's high and inside. A bases loaded walk-off walk.
The Mariners pull out their best win of the season.
You just need those guys to be who you expect them to be.
Rosa ran a monster game.
It is grand salami time.
Is it the spark the M's needed? Find out tonight with a first of 3 against the Rangers. First pitch at 6:40. Pregame at 5:30 after Wyman and Bob on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports, and the app.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Discover LeMay, America's car museum in Tacoma. Explore 300 world-class cars, 100 years of history, and the Shinka exhibit with 50 iconic Japanese sports cars. Thrilling race simulators and fun for the whole family. Visit americascarmuseum.org.
Old windows cost you money and security. Lake Washington Windows and Doors installs energy-efficient, high-security windows that lower your bills and increase protection. With leak armor installation and lifetime warranties, you're protected for life. Choose LakeWashingtonWindows.com today.
Right now, have ultra-efficient, clean technology windows installed and pay zero down with zero interest and zero payments for 18 months. Only from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. And they'll even pay your sales tax. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
Collectors, Front Row Car Show is returning to Tacoma. Join us at the Greater Tacoma Convention Center on April 12th and 13th. Baseball, football, basketball, and hockey cards, plus collectibles such as Pokemon, Marvel, Star Wars, and comic books. SGC, CGC, and JSA will be there. So bring your cards, comics, and autographs to sell, trade, or get them graded. Hundreds of bidders, thousands of dollars in free prizes. Don't miss it. Front Row Card Show, Greater Tacoma Convention Center, Saturday and Sunday, April 12th and 13th, 11 to 5. For more info, go to FrontRowCardShow.com. That's FrontRowCardShow.com.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary.